We're live.
We're dancing to the music. Yay! Welcome everybody to the Arcade Hangout.
Are the levels good for the music?
Yeah. It sounds good to me.
Sounds return.
Everybody's favorite arcade live podcast and longest running podcast. Longer than the other guys. What's that?
On YouTube.
By 12 inches.
On YouTube, yes. I don't know about everywhere else, but on YouTube, longest live running podcast. We are still running on Google Hangouts. They haven't shut it down yet, so we're still here.
we're gonna suck on this tit as long as we can.
Yeah, until they kick us out of this place. Run it to the ground.
We've been kicked out of better places than Google.
We're a bunch of friends that have been together for, gosh, what, 4 or 5 years now?
Weeks,
few minutes. We like to get together once a week and talk about what we've been doing during the week, whether it be playing Cuphead or playing Star Wars stand-up.
Playing Doctor.
Playing what's in our belly button.
I have a belly button. We all have belly buttons.
And also, we're going to do something a little different this week. Later on, we're going to talk about the slightly controversial but very interesting experiment that Black Mirror has done for the newest episode. I believe they don't even consider it a season. I think it's just kind of a tacked on episode. Maybe a movie, maybe an episode, but it's a standalone. It's called Bandersnatch. We told everybody we're going to all watch it, and we're all going to talk about that later. I know Bandersnatch.
Not to be confused with Cooter Snatch.
Or just Snatch. And we're going to talk about our different experiences and what we all saw, because depending on what choices you've made while you watch and sort of play, it's sort of a game in a way. Choose your own adventure episode. Yeah. You might have a completely different outcome. And so we're going to go around the room and talk about our experiences and what happened and what you did and how many times you did it and all that kind of good stuff. So we'll go into that later, especially when Carrie gets back. With that, Chris, did I miss anything?
Can you hear me at all?
Yes.
Is this microphone working?
No. Yes, we can hear you, but I don't know. Oh, I don't know if that microphone's working, but I can hear you.
We can hear you, but your fancy setup is really not.
Now I'm trying to do the boom mic thing.
Is it because is he trying to run it all through the iPad? Is that why?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of choices to do anything in there. It's very difficult to use. Yeah, that gives you like one choice, I think.
It's Google.
One option.
It's the eye limited.
I don't know if you can hear me. I have this adapter. It's like a USB to Lightning, and that's supposed to work with the big, the big giant microphone.
Yeah, you sound the same with that plugged in or not, so it's not using.
Yeah, I think it's using the mic.
It looks fancy.
Yeah,
that's a big black microphone you got there, buddy.
Yeah. I would just get a cheap laptop to throw it in that room.
Yeah.
My
next step.
Yeah. Just get like a $300 one or something.
I can borrow my son's.
There you go. That's the cheaper solution. Give me that. I paid for it anyway.
Here, have an iPad. Play with that.
Paying for your college education. Borrow your laptop for the night.
Mom!
Let's check out his bookmarks.
Chris, stop picking on your son, Chris.
I've been messing with this thing for like the last week. I just cannot get it to work right.
Oh, boring school links.
Everybody watch Chris because he's going to throw his iPad across the room.
I know, right? I just got this goddamn thing too. It's the 2017 Pro.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, with the touch, can you write on it with the pen and all that? Oh, that's awesome.
Last year's model, so I got it on a pretty good price. But I was hoping this was going to work, but it'll still work good for other things.
Well, with Apple, it's always last year's model because you blink and it's another model. So you can never keep up with that shit with Apple.
Weird is, like I said, I can do FaceTime with the mic setup I had and it was working correctly. But with Hangout, it's got a different setting that doesn't like iPad or something.
It's a Google app, and they probably intentionally hobbled it for the Apple devices.
Oh, they totally just pulled a
fuck you.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, oh, sorry about that. Maybe you should have bought a fucking Amazon Fire or whatever.
It's like a light version of Hangout that installs.
Right. Yeah. There's a feud going on there. Let them fight it out. So anyway,
while I'm in the limelight, let me show off a couple things I did.
All right, yeah, that's what we're here for. We're gonna do.
We're gonna definitely accept that.
Yeah, so we're gonna do arcade stuff and talk about your stuff, and then when Carrie gets in, we'll do Bandersnatch.
So,
yeah, I'll present you.
I'm gonna turn the microphone around.
Oh shit! Was he in a drive-through?
All right.
Hang on a second.
Wow.
I caught that one early.
Nice garage.
So if you might be able to see up there, I'll put my finger up there. See that?
See a floating ball pit.
In the ceiling, I put a access. I did that a couple weeks ago.
Ooh,
access panel.
Access.
Yeah, because there's
backdoor access
space above the garage that's just unused, and there's wiring up there for lights and everything. So I'm actually working on because the light that's there is going to be a fan. I actually got. I got that a while ago. You can see it there in the box. So I'm gonna have a couple ceiling fans here, but in place of those two lights. And in order to get the wiring in there and to do insulation up in the attic, I needed to have that access point. So that's why I basically cut out a big old section of sheetrock and framed it out in order to do that.
Cool.
And then I didn't talk about this last time, but over the Christmas break, somebody on KLV posted a game for free, fully working. And the catch is, to make sure not to flip it or resell it. And I told him, I'm not planning on selling it all. And if I do ever want to get rid of it, I'll be reaching out to him first. But so this is the game here. So it's called Track 10.
Oh, nice.
So I think it's like 1974.
10.
It's the first, yeah. It's the first,
good year.
It's basically the grandfather to Super Sprint.
Yep.
They all kind of
back in my day.
Yeah. So it's got a gas and a brake pedal, like you'd ever use the brakes. But it's really slow gameplay. But so the guy Paul's his name. P. Michelson is what he goes by on KLV.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting thing there because some of you know who John Coulpe is, the coordinator for CAC stuff.
Yep.
He asked me to do a favor for him that he had a couple of games that he asked for me to deliver to him from my area. And so I had planned on going that weekend. And then this just popped up, and just by sheer coincidence, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in your area, So I happened to catch him like a minute after he posted it. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I think it was actually wood grain sides, and they painted them gray. But yeah, it's fully working. The monitor was rebuilt already, so bonus.
I always like the illuminated bezel, the instructions.
Yeah,
I always like that. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
And I love how the track goes into like the score area. That's a really complicated track too.
It just loops around. It's the same exact track. And
Super Sprint's got nothing on track 10.
Yeah, right.
That reminds me of the that racer we all played together at CAX.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Indy.
Indy.
Yeah, Indy 500 or Sprint 8 is basically the same game. But yeah, that was after this one. But yeah, it's really slow gameplay. What's kind of weird though is it seems like some games play faster than others, which I don't get it. I don't know if like the clock chip or something. Sometimes it's got a better connection. I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. They just have stickers on here for your
wow
score and the time remaining.
I assume that was like on the screen. That's funny.
Yeah, so it's basically you're just on a timer, and you just get around as fast as you can without crashing to get the highest score possible.
Wait, hold on a sec.
Hold on. Someone's buying a pack of smokes.
If you weren't doing this stuff right now, I'd be presenting him.
Yeah. Go ahead, do it.
No, keep talking.
So yeah. Anyways, yes, I have it directly across the way from my.
Yes.
So, yeah, whatever.
From my trail, no deal.
So it's kind of like the grandfather and the grandchild.
Dude, that's cool. It's like kind of like a cabaret too.
Yes, it is actually. They did make, and the story he told me was the guy he got it from is out of Arizona, and he went there to pick up it's like a shuffleboard or something. He actually flew out there to buy the shuffleboard, and then he loaded it into a U-Haul and drove it back to San Francisco, or Oakland is where he's at. And so while he was there, the guy was like, "Hey, I want to get rid of all these games in this room. You know, you can have all of them if you want, just for free." And he's like, "Oh, I just like this one," so he just took one game for free. So, but yeah, because that guy had this one originally, and then he got the full upright version that was, I guess, in really good condition. The artwork's all original and everything. So he just wanted to get rid of the Cabaret version.
All right, I just realized something like pretty awesome that maybe only Brian Frober on this channel probably might recognize. That's actually a dog-legged setup for the gear shift pattern. So reverse is where first is.
Oh, yeah.
Old Porsches are set up like this. Oh. So reverse is where first is, and then first is where second normally is, and second and third are over on the right. And the reason why they do that is because they figure in racing, you're only going to be in first for a little bit, and second and third are going to be your kind of like main gears.
Yeah.
So that's called dog-legged shift pattern. Very unusual.
Look at you with your racing knowledge.
Yeah.
Damn.
Old school Porsches. Yeah. There you go.
I just thought it was a fuck up.
Yeah. Nope. my 68 Porsche was set up exactly like that.
You better know what you're doing when you're on the freeway. You don't throw it into reverse by accident.
Well, that's the funny bit is that the first time anyone new gets into your car, you tell them, look, and in reverse feels like first. It's not like this weird thing we get like push down and push it over and up. It's like it kind of just goes in there naturally for reverse. It's a little bit angled, but it's like it's very, very easy to put it into reverse when you think you're in first.
Oh, ouch.
And Volkswagen is not quite like that. Brian, I thought you would do this from Porsche. Volkswagen first is still in the normal position, a normal H pattern. Volkswagen, you have to go like down to the left and up to get to reverse. And I think Volvos are like that too. But Porsche, first gear in the dog-legged shift pattern is where reverse is normally.
Well, I'll just play this a little bit briefly, but the kind of a neat thing on the coin door where the lock would normally be. He's got a coin up button. So you just
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, at least it looks nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like a big ugly button.
And you could always put a lock back on it if you wanted to.
Of course, now it doesn't want to coin up.
It's got the curse.
What a unique arcade game. That's pretty cool.
Have you capped the monitor yet?
Right,
it came. This is like driving like fucking Atari Combat.
So can you guys see the whole screen? I'm not sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So there are no other drivers. It's just you doing laps.
Yep. And then you got,
like classic super sprint. Yep, there you go.
That's reverse on, like you never really use that, I guess. But yeah, it's hard. So, but yeah. So that's it. That's really all the new stuff I had to show.
That's badass, dude.
Yeah.
I would take that for free all day long.
Yeah.
Now, and if you look at like the original pictures of it, like was the control panel supposed to have art like the sprint games, like the earlier ones?
I think the upright, the full size has all the art, and this one was just bare bones. It just had wood grain on the sides, and then just a very plain control panel. They're basically just stickers. They're vinyl stickers for the reverse and the 3 gears.
It looks great, dude. I love the fact it's like still the Atari Classic steering wheel.
Yeah. So this is now it's the oldest game I've ever owned. I have a bronze era now in the collection. So, like I said, I don't know how much it'll get played, but it's a great conversation piece to tie into Super Sprint too. So,
Well, you can't play that one one-handed.
Correct. You have to be able to shift. Yeah.
You'd be spilling your beer every time you shifted.
Exactly. Right. Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. If you want to
Yep.
remove the present thing.
I'm gonna go get another beer real quick.
Yeah. Cool. So now we can watch or listen to Dave driving down the road, it looks like, in his wife's Astra van. That's hilarious. He totally is giving us a dashboard view.
Born to be wild.
Oh, it's snowy there.
Highway to hell.
Yeah, going 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Wait, but really, why be in a hurry to go to hell? Yep, down to 20.
20.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Hell, I'm going to hell. Oh, fuck that. I'm going slow.
Yeah, we got about a foot and a half of snow here between Saturday night and Sunday morning.
Oh, wow.
And I was out in the sticks of my brother's stag party, so got stuck behind every snowplow from all 3 counties that we went through.
That's horrible.
So
with a hangover.
So that's what Seabart did this week.
Yeah. I also did my homework.
Oh, good.
Oh, very good.
We'll get to the homework in a minute. Anyone else do arcade stuff or things they want to talk about?
I did a couple things, but fixed my noisy vibration motor in my Super Hang-On.
Oh yeah, how'd that turn out?
Good. After I ended up getting the wrong size bearings, but they were cheap. They were like, I got what was it, like 10 of them for like $12 or something like that. So I didn't think. Again, one of those it was the size of bearing was in the manual. so I thought I had it I measured. I spent a long time and I'm like, I've got this. And they showed up and the inside diameter was right, but the outer diameter was not. So anyways, I got the right size bearing and replaced both bearings. And then I think the thing that really kind of sealed the deal was when I would spin it, like obviously the bearing was pretty bad. The one was really bad. So I think that helped. But when I opened it up, the bushings, maybe that's the word. There was a little bit of friction, and it was really dry. There was a little bit of friction there. When you would spin it, and so I added just a couple drops of like a 3-in-1 oil, and it was like smooth as butter. And so it was crazy. It's so much quieter, and it's not as it's more subtle, but I was able to reduce the volume on the game by like 30 to 40%.
Oh my god!
Like a ridiculous amount. Like I showed Carrie, I'm like, check this out. This is it's way better. Yeah,
you won't have to be evicted now for all the noise that you.
That's right.
It's not your smoker neighbors.
Yeah,
oh
the volume matches the other games a little more. You can always tell, like, someone's playing Super Hang-On. It sounds like someone's like in the kitchen with a mixer.
It sounds like actually it sounded kind of like taking ice cubes and chopping them up in a blender.
A great experience. I kind of miss it.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, I did that, and then the other thing that I'm still kind of working on is my get up for recording straight from cabinets directly, and I've got all the hardware. I've got a good plan, but this week we were talking about this earlier before we went live. I've been rocking Windows 7 for a long time. I absolutely love the operating system, but there are too many. There's now several things that
don't work with it anymore.
Well, no, they work. It's just, so for instance, so there's a couple reasons that I should probably go to 10, and one of them is one of the pieces of hardware I have. You can still run it on 7, But if you want all the latest updates to the firmware and all that stuff, it requires Windows 10. So now things are getting to the point now where they actually require Windows 10, whereas before it was no big deal. So now I'm like, but I think I'm hoping it'll be fairly painless.
What's your setup for recording arcade games gonna look like?
Okay, so
you can use your Logitech cam and
I've got 2 HDMI captures. So I'm actually going to use I'm going to be recording 60 frames a second, hopefully 1080p. It might be 720. It depends on how everything plays together. But I'm going to have one stream 60 frames a second coming directly from the cabinet. That's going to run I got one of these doohickeys here, the little VGA converter. And that will go. Actually, the final piece of the hardware is supposed to arrive on Thursday, which is an upscaler and VGA to HDMI converter. And so that HDMI will then. So I've got I have to build. I've got a bunch of connectors. I'm gonna basically make a Y splitter for the CGA signal coming from the board.
Oh, wow.
That will get amplified here.
Yep.
Go into that VGA to HDMI converter and upscaler, and then run into my computer via this guy here. That got really good reviews. I was going to go with an external. It's the Elgato HD60 Pro. Got really good reviews. I just exchanged this guy. Yeah, it's a PCI Express. Yeah. So I just got I just exchanged. I picked up an AverMedia Portable 2 Plus or whatever, and so I like the idea with that is that you can obviously run a USB 3 into your computer to capture it, or it can work on its own as a portable device and record right to a micro SD card, and you can still do 1080p 60 frames a second. But all the tests and stuff I was running over the weekend, I didn't like the way it worked, and then I couldn't. I think I had a defective unit because I was getting really weird distortions, and I couldn't update the firmware. Like it wouldn't let me. So I returned it. And
issue, or was it just that was just a hardware issue?
That claims that it's fine with Windows 7. So I got through all. There's like 10 steps, to update the firmware. It's not very straightforward. And so I followed them down to the T. But then at the very end, there's a little application. So like the box updates on its own via a micro SD card, and then the software does some update thing. And when I got there, it would just hang at it wouldn't progress past 0%. Then it'd say firmware update failed. And when that would happen, that would knock out my entire USB root hub, and I would have to reinstall those drivers to get it to detect any USB stuff.
Holy crap.
So I'm like, the hell with this. And so I read a bunch of reviews, and I'm like, well, you know what? Because if I'm going to do because then I started thinking, originally I was going to just do this whole setup just to record stuff and then upload them to YouTube. And now I'm thinking, well, it'd be kind of cool to do live streams of playing games. So now I'm like, well, if I'm going to have a long ass cord running anyways, I might as well get an internal card because it's going to run faster and more. And I've got a beefy system, and this got really good reviews, and it wasn't much more. So anyways, that's the stream's going to run into this guy in my computer. And then I've got this little, it doesn't even have a fucking brand, but it was like $70 on Amazon, got really good reviews, and it's a USB to HDMI capture. Basically, it's an HDMI capture USB 3, and I tested it out over the weekend with one of my fancier cameras, and it worked great. 60 frames a second, no screen tearing, nothing. And so I'm like, sweet, all right, so that'll be my other source. And then I was thinking, if I wanted a third, I could use my C920, right, either for like the control panel, or I haven't decided which camera I want, if I want to use 60 frames on the controls or what. So yeah, at least 2 streams, maybe a third if I feel ambitious. So anyways, that's how those are going to come in. And then I've got this doohickey here, which takes the feed from the speakers directly and converts it into a balanced stereo. What would you call it? RCA.
RCA
That way, that way it'll play nicer, because if I don't want to go straight from the speakers, because that's not a line level.
Yep.
So this way I can control the level a lot better. So I have to build a bunch of stuff. So I have a piece of I have about a piece of wood about this big that I used to use that on my old. Back when I lived with my folks, I had a little test bench. I had like 25-inch monitor, and I had a like one of those Weya like universal chassis, and I had it mounted onto this piece of wood. So I pulled that off because it's really nice block, and that's what I'm going to try to mount everything on there, so that I can just move it from one cabinet to the next, and then just plug my cords in. And I've got USB 3 active extension cables in case so that I don't lose that USB 3.0 for this guy.
Speed, yeah. That's pretty cool. I'm actually curious to see how you get that all set up for like any of your games, really.
Yeah, I'm hoping. So if the Windows 10 thing
of you doing the setup for the videos that you want to stream.
It's funny. After if I'm able, I'm hoping maybe to start on the Windows 10. If hopefully everything goes according to plan Friday night, with the idea that maybe I can get all this shit built over the weekend and maybe shoot a little. If everything's hunky dory, maybe like Sunday, just record a video of the setup and a test. But this all started, this whole idea, with doing those fancy Arkanoid videos. So that's kind of where I got the idea. I'm like, man, when I recorded that gameplay video, I'm like, I'm so sick of certain games not syncing perfectly with the shutter speed of my. I'd love a direct feed.
I get the shadow.
Yeah. And then of course, like $300 later, I'm like, God, because I don't know how much I've spent, but it's adding up. So.
I wish there was some simple way of doing it, man.
I mean, there is. You can just take your phone and like just record off your phone. That's what the DK Club does.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, before I was shooting, you can see the video. You're like, yeah, it looks smooth, and you can see what's going on. But I'm so sick of doing it that way. And then on like the Vision Pros, you get that diagonal scan line going across, or that refresh wave.
Yeah.
So
if you can't adjust the
better.
refresh on that, then
yeah. I like and then I was starting to think, man, it'd be kind of fun to be able to do a live stream, on weekends where I don't have anything going on or whatever.
Yeah, and Chris and I were actually talking about this a little bit before the show too. Is like, so it's up in the air, like what's going to happen with Google Hangouts and whether that goes away, and then whether we end up having to look at some alternative software like Twitch for streaming.
Right.
This show, which may eventually have to happen, but then also being able to do stuff like, I'd love to be able to do some Twitch streaming on some PC gaming, like with like Steve and I have gotten together doing VR stuff, or the games that the group of us have gotten together to play together in the past with PC gaming, but also be able to come out to the garage and actually do some recording on arcade games, and then sharing that stuff. I don't really have a lot of interest in setting up my own Twitch channel, but like if there were something where we all had one login where we could like, hey, Jimbo's streaming tonight, so love to watch Jimbo just do some live Arkanoid or whatever.
Right now my I'd like to be able to stream to probably YouTube and maybe Facebook Live, because I don't have I do have a Twitch account, but it's just for viewing. Like I don't, and that's such a convoluted, like it's so saturated with people streaming.
Yeah, no, and I only mean that as being like something where we can all share our stuff together if we want.
Yeah. So I mean, that's my goal, is to have something relatively portable on one thing that I can move from cabinet to cabinet. We'll see how that goes. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, that makes the most sense because all my games are freaking right here, and my computer's here. It's like maybe 10 feet tops. So it's like, well, okay, we'll see.
And how complicated do you think, like for the different cabinet setups and hardware setups, would it be to be able to plug in your portable rig? Let's
see. I picked up off of Pinball. Actually, Pinball Life had these. I also picked up some connectors from Peter, Arcade Parts and Repair. But Pinball Life have here. Let me grab one because it's going to be tough for you guys to see this. But they have these really cool Z connectors or whatever. So and then I have like your standard monitor connectors. I have a bunch of stuff. So I'm probably going to split it off. I'm going to do the RGB and ground, and then do sync as maybe like a separate connector. Because like most of my games, they're mostly Wells monitors, with the exception of like Miss Pac-Man's a G07. But otherwise they're all like K7000. Yeah. So, and I don't know if I'm really going to stream much out of the Red Tent, but that I figured that should cover most of the bases, doing something like that.
It would be that hard to build an adapter for the Nintendo either.
Right. I could do two separate. Yeah. So I mean, like, and with this board, with this guy here, you actually it's right there. It's interesting because they actually have an RGB, like your standard RGB ground, but it comes with a VGA breakout cable, and from what I've read and everything, you can just wire it straight up into here since it's analog and analog. So so that's the route I'm going to go and see if that works. And then they have RGB right here, so you can adjust the signal because it obviously amplifies the signal, right? And then you've got some controls and stuff here. So
is there a sync adjustment you would have to do on that too, or
not from what I've read? Yeah, it's got both horizontal and vertical sync, but typically you wouldn't use the vertical. Right.
So you're actually, I guess the Nintendo might be a problem for the negative. You have to get a positive.
Yeah.
That's maybe with an adapter you could figure that out. I don't know if that would work.
I wonder if I could wire up, because I have an extra Nintendo inverter board.
Boards,
So maybe that'd work. That'd be another project for a different rainy day. Yeah.
After you get all the rest of the games, the easy one's working.
Yeah, exactly. Which, that'll be a project in and of itself. But in theory, I think this should all work.
That's super cool. I'd love to see how that shapes up, because
I hope it works out, because in my head I'm like, oh, this could be kind of cool to do streaming, because then it wouldn't be the boring setup, and it wouldn't really, you can't really contest it then,
Yeah, so that's you don't want to get where mine was connected to, was those ports above the VGA.
Yep.
So that's how I got it when it came in Missile Command before I rescued it.
Yeah, you use everything except the yellow wire, which is the vertical sync.
Hellfire needed the vertical sync though for some reason. I don't know, it was connected.
Yeah.
But the board also broadcasted it upside down for some stupid reason.
Could have been that.
Yeah, and then I would be able to use with my fancy camera with that HDMI stream, I could run my my wireless lavalier mic so that the audio would sound good and balance that. That was my other thought. So anyhow, enough that.
No, it got me thinking about it, because the other day I was on Twitch and I was like eating dinner, having drinks, whatever. And so I wasn't naked, but I wasn't playing. So I sometimes I'll throw Twitch on and I go and find, players playing games that I'm actually interested in. And I jumped into the retro section and I found some dude playing Donkey Kong.
Oh, sweet.
And so I just jumped in his channel and then ended up starting to type with him and chatting with him a bit about stuff. And I cautiously told him about the show, but anyway, so yeah, he had a DK set up and just watching him play and stuff like that. But yeah, apparently he's actually got kind of a funny story. So he bought Donkey Kong, the arcade version, for the Switch, right? And then after playing that for a while, went out and bought himself a fucking upright.
Holy shit.
It's one and only game.
That's all it took.
Yeah, damn. His one and only game is a junior cabinet with DK in it right now.
Holy shit.
So yeah, we just ended up like chatting a bit for stuff while he was playing Donkey Kong. But yeah,
That's
but that
awesome.
got me thinking, like
It's kind of cool that that was the catalyst for him to buy the
yeah,
arcade stand-up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
getting into
most
collecting.
people's mentality is, oh, I can
strong-
play it on this. I don't need an arcade cabinet. I got it right here.
That's a real love for Donkey Kong.
That dude,
Yeah, no.
he actually, he's only been playing for like a year, and he's like, he's pretty good.
Yeah, oh, good.
Yeah.
It's not a cheap machine either, so that's cool.
No, it's just funny. It's like watching him play Donkey Kong, and I was like hearing like the click, click, click of like the Nintendo's joystick, and I was like, are you playing on original hardware? He's like, yeah.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Was he playing on a regular CRT?
Yeah. Full normal, like original upright.
Yeah. I've heard that the 60-in-1 Donkey Kong isn't the same as the arcade board Donkey Kong, and I don't know what the differences are.
Sounds are fucked up. I don't know if the gameplay is any different, but I've never. That's not true. I do own a 61, but I've never plugged it in.
Yeah, I recall the gameplay pretty decent, but
yeah,
the sound was off.
The sounds are fucking weird.
Because it does the dual analog and digital, right, on the actual game.
Yeah, because it has analog sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so
well, usually those are sampled. Yeah,
of the analog sounds.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. Oh, does anybody else have any arcade stuff to chat about before we get into Bandersnatch?
I have a little bit, not from last week, but I didn't get a chance to talk about it the previous week because this last week I was busy, and then I was in Minnesota over the weekend, so I got nothing arcade done wise, and it was raining cats and dogs, and which is fine unless I need to try to. One thing I need to do is access the back of one of my cabinets that is at the very edge of the garage, and that would require me opening up the garage door, and that doesn't work so well when it's raining. But the previous week, I finally polished off, I think, everything. Oh, dear God, I hope everything on BlackWidow, and and have it running fine. It was just so frustrating because so BlackWidow was acting glitchy. And kind of figured, okay, it's probably wiring, went down to probably need to repin the connector to the board, repin them, and spent a small fortune on pins and new connectors, because the little fancy gold, nice pins, and repin them, and they were loose. But managed to kind of pull them and get them into the connector okay, and then I think what ended up happening when I did that is that with the loose connectors, I think it ended up I had two working BlackWidow boards, and in trying to test, and it was still glitchy, didn't solve the glitch problem. But I think in so doing, it fried one of the boards. It screwed up one of the components. So that was not a happy thing. And then messed around, and a lot of this was on Clav when I was messing around with trying to get the glitch to go away. And actually, it has not glitched since I fixed the ground wire and the connection to the control panel. So far so good, knock on wood. But then I was left with these connectors that are like, the pins are coming out, and so it's like, okay,
those pins suck.
Yeah, Jim and I pinned that. I wasn't gonna name names, but we repinned that together. We both struggled with it, and neither of us got those pins to work, and so decided to repin with some different connectors, and that was great for one of the connectors, but unfortunately, it turned out I had the wrong size for the small connector, because there's the big one and there's a little one. And I thought I had the right size, but I didn't. So I got about, 4 pins away from being done, and went, wait a minute, there's more rows. There's 2 more rows of pins that should be going on this. So then I had to order, and so then I had to order more pins and more connectors, and wait while my game is sitting in the middle of the arcade with, for that bottom connector, 2 connectors already hanging on it. The one that I had, the one that was pinned poorly with the pins all falling out, and literally they're falling out. And
it's like a crime scene. It's
oh my God, it was horrible. It was horrible. And then I had the other one with the beautiful connector that was great, except for it was the wrong fucking size. And I'd have to say it, like, I don't know if other people have experienced this, but it was like I went through like kind of an arcade depression. Like I walked out into because I didn't want to put it back because it's so much trouble. It's in the middle of the row. And so like trying to get it back into the row, it was just a tremendous pain in the ass. And it's like, okay, all I need to do is get this part and I can get it fixed. And it was like, I'd walk into my garage and it's like there was this giant turd in the middle of the carpet that just made me depressed. Like I stopped playing games. I didn't even want to be there. Like it stopped being a good space for me. And it's always been like, oh, the day sucks, whatever. Like sometimes I just go out in my arcade and I will just look at the games and I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I have these games. I can't believe I've been entrusted to have these things. I smell the smell of the old arcade and it just makes me happy. And sometimes before I go to bed at night, like I'll open the garage door and I'll turn on the light just to make sure everything's off, even though I haven't even played anything out there. But it's like, really, it's just my excuse to like just look at the arcade because I love it so much. But it's like it just fucking killed me having, because I had that game down. I had another game that was pulled out on the other side, and it was exactly, it was heartbreaking.
Our arcade depression is a real fucking thing.
Oh man, it was
no, it seriously is. Like that's the reason why Warlords is shoved way the fuck over in the corner. It's beautiful.
That's Warlords in the corner.
It doesn't fucking work. And it's just there. It's like a wart.
Yeah.
In the room.
Yeah.
It's herpes simplex 1.
It is the herpes in the corner. And I won't get it working. There's no question that I'm going to get that fucking game working. But no, it is like every time I walk by it, I go, yeah, you son of a bitch.
Nobody puts Warlords in the corner.
And that's right. But no, you're right though. It is a source of like
nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it made it hard.
It's deflating. Like you walk out and you're like, and I don't have what I need to work on it right now. So
yeah, so it's like you can't even. There's nothing. You can't even do anything about it. So when the new part came, and there was a certain dread also because I find it harder to work on games that I love. It's like the games that I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good game or whatever. It's like I'm not as invested emotionally in them. I can tackle much more easily. But the games that I really love, and BlackWidow is one of them. It's like there's too much writing on it. It makes me just but I had to take care of it. So it's like I kind of dread working on the ones I really love. But yeah, so I did and I just also dreaded that because it's like I already had 2 connectors hanging on there. Like the chances of error happening in transferring the wires yet again onto another connector when there's like 2 that are put into one, I had a sense of dread. So it was fantastic when it worked. And the fix that I was given on Clav by Andy worked to fix my board. So I'm back to having 2 working BlackWidow boards, and so far so good. Nothing's glitching on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
depression lifted.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. Although there's some other stuff I'm dying to get to be able to work on. I'll be trying to tackle some stuff this weekend. But yeah, that was huge. It was my antidepressant in the form of a connector and a bunch of pins, and the new ones are nice and tight. So and I'll just say on these original pins I got, so I was like, so Jim and I were, because we both neither of us could get them. They'd go in, but they'd go all the way through, and they're poking out, and so we're like, oh man, we suck, and we must have crimped it too high. So when I realized I had that connector I was put on that had the beautiful pins, I was like, oh shit. Well, I still have some of these crappy ones. I'm just going to really crimp way at the edge, and I'll get the original connector and pins to work. The first set that I bought for $1 bazillion. And so I tried doing that. Like, I tried crimping it so far to the outside, I had trouble getting the wire in there because it kept trying to, go up and over. And so I finally managed to get it in there and then slipped it in, and it did the same goddamn thing. It went right through. So I'm like, okay, fuck this shit. So I took the connector, crimped one of the pins without the wire. I just wanted to see if I crimped at the very end, so far out that I would never be able to get a wire properly strung through there, would it work? And it didn't. The only way I got that set of pins and those pins to work with that connector, and they were sold together as a set, is if I didn't crimp it at all, and then I could slide the pin in and it stayed fine. So I guess the lesson is not all parts are made equal.
Yeah, and those pins came with the connectors. It was a package deal, so like there's something fucked up there.
Yeah, and those pins wouldn't work with the other, or the pins for the other connector would not work in those, because I tried that.
They were skinnier. You could tell, like when you bought when the second time around you bought
black and one of them yellow.
I didn't hear what you said. Damn it! Shit, I lost.
I don't want that joke actually to go on the air. I hope it didn't show up. Yeah.
What makes me depressed is Carrie's internet connection.
Oh, yeah. And you know what?
That's the next thing you got to fix.
When I was at Jim's this weekend and I was on his computer and my computer, when I was on his internet with my laptop, and I was having the same problems in terms of like when checking my email and I'm getting all these like no connection. Then I'm like, well, duh, I keep complaining about Xfinity because Xfinity sucks, Comcast. Mm-hmm. But I'm actually wondering if it's my computer, because I had trouble with, and this is my work laptop. So.
Oh, I see.
So that
You're the same boat as Gak needing a $300 laptop to be able to do the show.
Yeah.
He's going to borrow his son's laptop.
Yeah. Have you tried doing a speed test on your laptop?
I have, and it comes out fine. Like, it's not fantastic, but what happens is, like, even when I'm checking my email, I'll be going through and it will all of a sudden say, check your internet connection, no internet connection, and that happens at Jim's place too. Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe there's something wrong with this.
Keeps dropping out on your
shitty Wi-Fi.
Yeah, because it happens at Jim's place.
But it happens at Jim's, so it's not Jim's.
Right,
so it must be a computer or something.
But I am me.
But
I'm Jim.
No, it's not Jim.
It's not Jim.
It's not.
So that was like all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, maybe it's actually my lousy computer.
It's your potato. How long have you had it?
It's only been a couple of years.
Shouldn't.
I mean,
is your laptop that far away from your modem?
Well, she's mesh.
Yeah, I've meshed, and at Jim's place, it's right. I mean, like there's no. I mean,
if her laptop's dropping out with the Wi-Fi, not related to anything else, maybe if she tried to hardwire direct to the laptop off of the modem, if it wasn't that far away.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I mean, we could do that.
Well,
I mean, we're running other stuff on wireless, though.
Yeah.
The real test is Jim should bring a laptop to Carrie's and see if he has the same issues.
Yeah.
See if it drops up and down.
Mike Leak says, clear the cache packets.
Too many cached packets.
Huh. Okay.
6 packets, $1 or $2. Sorry.
He's troubleshooting someone's.
I don't know exactly what that means. And yes, Super Greg, I have a new sofa that I'm sitting on. And Tempest has moved. It is now behind me.
Ooh,
and I'm actually pretty excited about that because I think it's going to be a little more accessible and easier to actually use as a game because it's not in like this funky location.
A drink holder.
So,
you can do
yes,
Coke on it.
And there's a new there's actually there's an actual no shit end table to play the role of the end table instead of my cocktail.
You can eat dinner on it,
right? And behind me, I don't know if you can probably see it behind me, is a very cool PCB holder that
I was looking at that
right.
When you were talking, I was like, "Oh, that thing's kind of cool. It holds a little board."
That was a little gift from our friend Mike. who wanted to send me a little thank you gift, and that was super thoughtful. I'm excited. I haven't had the need to
throw BlackWidow in there.
No, but my next, I'm sure I'll be doing some monitor chassis soon, no doubt. So that'll fit in there quite
cached
nicely.
Packets, Gleek says.
There's
in the internet section. Yeah, there's a way to dump all that stuff out and try see if that doesn't help things. But
okay,
but you're on a Mac though, right? So that's no, you're on PC.
Nope. Yep, I'm on a PC.
Yeah, PC. There's an area where you can do that. You can dump all that stuff out.
Oh,
right? Yeah. Let's
cool.
go to YouTube video to show you how to do it. It's super easy. It'll clean out all your junk. It might help. It wouldn't hurt. It doesn't hurt it if you do it. It just
I will definitely try that. That would be awesome.
So Super Greg is asking if that was a Panavice PCB holder.
Yes, I think that's what they're called. I actually have one. Not like I'd ever use it. But
I have one, but
I can go get it.
Yes, it is a Panavice.
Oh,
it is. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
It is.
I have like a mini Panavice that I have like mounted to a board for holding.
That was
stuff, but it's not nearly as cool as the one that she's got.
Yeah, hers is that's the biggest one that I've seen.
Mine's little.
I think it holds like a 13-inch.
Cock.
Really tight, really firmly.
I'm getting a little buzz. I'm drinking Andrew's beer. It's fucking me up.
Wow, which one is that?
It's the last one of the bunch.
Oh, nice.
Funky butt loving.
Sasson.
Sasson.
Ooh, la la. Sasson.
That base is heavy as fuck too. That board, whatever board he put in there, isn't going anywhere. I lifted that. I'm like, damn, it's like 6 pounds.
It's really cool. I'm excited. That was a really considerate gift. Yeah, it moves all over.
Okay, so compared to my third hands, which is a little dinky like T-Rex thing. The little T-Rex clamps.
That's what I have, and then it falls over all the time.
Yes, I'm forever complaining.
I just did a tasting of it over the weekend. Actually.
Oh, cool!
Oh, wow!
Nice. Yeah, this says Funkworks on it.
Funkworks is local.
Yeah.
Woo! It's pretty good.
Well, Saison, that's sort of like delicious, easy drinking beer.
Yep.
I don't know how many percentage it is, but
it's probably not super high.
No.
6 or 7.
Yeah. Cool.
Saisons aren't normally big beer.
Refill. Did you have your kegs filled?
Actually, I should be getting them Friday.
Oh, you have to put in an order. Where do you get them at? Do you get them like at a liquor store, or do you go to like Bevmo?
There's Bevmo and Total Wine near my house.
Okay.
And it seems like, honestly, Bevmo has a better selection.
Yeah, Bevmo has a lot. When I went to one anyway, there's a lot of stuff to pick from.
I specifically was looking for a couple options, and they're like, oh, we can get those in.
Yeah, they order it for you.
So I'm going to get Firestone Walker Easy Jack, and then Corona Light for an easy drinker.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I had to order something, and then they don't call you, though, when it's in. You got to, like, bug them. Like, is it in? Oh, no, let me go look. You got to wait 20 minutes. I don't see it. But, yeah, that's cool.
All right, I'll be back in a second.
Nice. All right, does anybody have any other arcadey stuff? Anybody buy anything? Anybody fix anything?
Got the pop bumper working on the pinball. Just a little bit of sandpaper and fires right out. Thank you. Bella. The only thing left now is at the very front. When you land it in the center, a gate opens and it's supposed to fire in and hit a target underneath a wire blocker. But the timing is so short on it that it doesn't actually have time to hit the bumper. The gate comes down too quick, and I have no idea why. But I'm going to try the contacts and see what's going on there. Didn't have a lot of time this weekend.
Next thing I'm mechanical action.
Yeah.
And I just need to find out what to do with what. So the surface it's wood and it's been painted through a stencil. Do I put wax on it? Do I put Novus?
I don't know for
Pinball
something
guys
like
help.
I would tell you if it was a newer pin, but since it's an older pin, I don't want to tell you something that's going to wreck it.
Yeah, that's my fear.
Wait, Carrie wants to say something.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Ooh. only to refer you to an awesome source, which is, I think it's pinrepair.com. So remember the guy that I got that Zakarian pinball 4 years ago? Clay, I think is his first name. He has a awesome source, a website that has it talks about dealing with the cosmetics, about the repair. It's pretty fantastic, and I think it's, let me double check, but I think it's Pin Repair.
Pinrepair.com. Be a pin monkey.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it. And so there's a lot of in fact he talks about ways to touch up, like if your glass, your glass is, the paint is flaking off the glass, and
Oh God, is it ever?
basically triple thick, and then you can you would touch up over the triple thick, because this way you can wipe it, you can clean it off without causing further damage, which I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. So you have a little bit of time when you're trying to do some sort of like paint matches. But yeah, so he talks about a lot of those different things, because I was looking at on his site for wanting to clean up that baseball pin I picked up. He's also a really awesome guy, and I'm sure if you had a specific question, if you shot him an email, he'd probably respond.
Yeah, because my issue is that the playfield, the artwork's okay, but I just want to prevent the few things that are flaky on it. Just something to seal it in. The back glass, it's cracked, and where on one side there's when you drain the ball, there's a bonus field, and the ball flicks up. Well, when it comes down, it goes between the glass and the back of whatever piece of metal, and it rolls in front of the glass, and that whole area has been etched out.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, whose design was this? So,
right?
Like, yeah, we'll just use the glass with paint on it as one end to help the ball, guide the ball back into the launcher that flicks it back up when you drain the ball. So, I didn't design it.
Yeah.
I know paint wears off.
Yeah, clearly they weren't planning for that game to be around for 50 years or however. This is a game from the 60s, right?
Yeah, 66. So.
Yeah, there's YouTube videos on how to, like, if you want to like paint restore, they give you tips and things. So I would highly suggest checking that out, because I've watched some videos on that where they want to, it's just some touch up or some areas that have a lot of worn areas, because they didn't clear coat that stuff back then. They just painted it and threw it out there.
53 years.
Yeah.
Well, they're supposed to survive like 2 or 3 years in the field and then just basically get burned.
Yeah, in the Prohibition.
Yeah, that's right.
The second board, because I got a second main board when my brother bought it for me. It was the full game, and then there was enough parts, including the main board, the scoring reels, the scoring unit, the bell unit, whatever, and a whole spare set of those. But I have no idea what the board is, so I've been working on that one too. Because I have no idea what the hell this other board is, because that cabinet was literally shot to hell. Someone figured, it was broken, so they
it's Canada
used it for target practice. So it was literally shot to hell. So no play field, but I have all the electronics for it, but I don't know what the hell it is. So that's something else I got to work on. Maybe your buddy's site there might be able to help me out there, or he might be. I think I have a couple photos of it. It's like, here's the board. All I know is it's inspected by Mr. Woods.
Yeah.
James
Mr. Woods.
Even in the video, I said, "Hey, Mr. Woods, if you're watching this video, can you tell me what the fuck you inspected 50 plus years ago?" That's pretty much the update on that. Yeah. So now all the people in the chat that kept yelling at me, "Where's another video? Where's another video?" There, you got one a week ago. Anybody else?
So I don't know if you guys have heard Coin Rejects podcast.
No, I haven't listened to it in a while.
They gave us a shout out.
Did they?
Oh, nice.
Aww.
That's nice.
It was the big fuck you. You guys suck.
Yes, we do.
The truth hurts.
They have no show structure.
We're working on that.
A spin-off off a spin-off.
Hey, baby steps.
Yeah, we're trying to give a shit about that.
Yeah, just a little.
We're all under one big tent, and so
they just came out with a new one where they have a Bill Carlton, I guess, who's like a world record guy.
Carlton.
I see your missile command behind you, Steve Art. That's what reminding me of it. But yeah, they just came out like yesterday or today or something. But the one before that, they talk about Grinkers and stuff. And so you guys know Jordan Brick Top.
Oh yeah, I like him.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Oh, freaking
cool. He had a good time.
The other guy that came from the Coin Rejects was Brian. I can't remember what his handle is on KLB, but I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I want to send like a little surprise gift before you guys do your next podcast, which would be the Grinkers one, right? And because I just started thinking about this, I was like, oh, that'd be funny. So you guys probably know the story about he basically fell asleep on a control panel Friday night.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay.
On the control panel on a Gravatar. So I from Walgreens photo developer, you can get photo prints on pillows. So it's like a kind of a narrow. It's about the same size as the control panel. And so I got a picture of a Gravatar control panel and put it on the pillow.
So he can go to
bed.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's way too clever for this.
Yes,
show.
nicely done.
You're fired.
Well played, Sal. Well played indeed.
He was throwing back they were like ace parasiters. So I got a bunch of screen grabs of the bottle caps, and I like lined them up on the control panel like they were quarters.
Oh, that's awesome.
On the pillow. So.
Did he get that before the show? Like, did he talk about that?
I told Brian, I said I want to do a surprise, so he opens it up like when he's done talking about his Breakers experience.
Oh, okay.
So it was like a surprise while he's doing the podcast. So.
And it looks fantastic.
They talk about Grinkers and how much fun they had and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. It's not the one they just came out with. It was the one before that.
Before it.
No, I listened to that. They really like that pillow. I totally forgot about it until you just said that. That was hilarious.
That's so funny. Nicely played.
If not mistaken, that won him a certain award as well.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They'll do it.
GAC award. Yeah.
So,
that's cool.
Right. You guys so everybody saw Banders?
Are we ready to transition into Bandersnatchness?
Yeah, I like that it's just such an awkward name to say too. Like you feel a little dirty.
Yeah.
It is. And every time I hear it, I think of Benedict Cumberbatch.
Crotch.
And then
Bandersnatch.
Which made me start thinking of like you guys, the whole thing about like there's like the variations on his name, and how like if you just put like any two words that kind of work together, like everyone knows who you're talking about. So if you're like Benadryl Cabbage Patch, people are like, oh yeah, I totally know exactly who you're. If you're like Wimbledon tennis match. Everyone fucking knows who you're that actor, Bumblebee baggage claim. They're like, oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
He was
Sherlock Holmes. Yeah.
There you go, got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Bandersnatch totally just reminds me of Benedict, and he should have starred in it.
Backing up a little bit, have you guys seen all the other Black Mirrors, the previous 2 or 3 seasons?
Yeah,
I've seen every episode.
I think it's on Netflix right
every episode.
Yeah.
Actually, I had friends. Actually, my buddy Eric, who's another arcade collector, who has my Qbert and some other games that I've got like 3 or 4 games in his basement now. But yeah, apparently he watched the very, very first episode that was on Netflix.
Oh no, another pig one.
It was the pig one.
That's
and he
like
watched,
I can't. Oh
he watched that with his mom.
no, and that's like I'm surprised they start the season with that.
Oh. That one, right?
That should be in the middle or at the end because it's such a harsh episode.
That one's fucking brutal.
Shock value.
It's pretty brutal. Yeah, it's very.
So yeah, I was trying to get, and he's like totally like a nerd like us. Like he works in tech, designer.
Yeah.
He works in the industry. So like for him, like there's so many great episodes that would be like this sort of like very near future tech stuff.
Oh, it's tangible. You can taste it. Yeah.
It's like so super close.
You know, it's obviously kind of like Twilight Zone, but it's like all has to do with like social stuff and technology.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, current kind of issues you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an anthology series for sure.
It seems not too hard to imagine those situations could possibly happen.
It's where technology can either like work against you or where it's going to hurt us or hurt someone else, or it's used in a wrong way or a corrupt way.
No, it's a great social sort of.
It's very it's very cool to see someone's take on. Well, this is obviously something that's probably going to happen in the future. Yeah. And here's how it can go wrong. Yeah.
They should have done one with Twitter in the White House.
And it's very real.
Oh God, maybe this coming season.
We're watching that episode every fucking day. The government is shut down.
I know, right? Yeah, we know.
But what's scary about that show is it really feels like, I could see all this transpiring. Totally.
Like the one with the girl that basically had to do with like social networking. Like,
well, that's interesting. You bring that one up because actually that one is referenced in the movie.
What's that?
What you're talking about is referenced in the movie. That episode.
Wait, are you talking about the one where you got to rate people?
Nosedive.
Yeah.
The episode. So the game that Colin in Bandersnatch is developing called Nosedive, which is a reference to the episode Nosedive, which is a social media episode that Chris is talking about.
Right.
Yeah, and they made a board game of that apparently is on sale at like Target or something. I was looking online for like games, and it was like that's a thing.
But you know, it's not too far from reality too, because like
oh yeah,
work on
we're almost there.
Instagram and YouTube, and then they start generating money and you become more wealthy.
Almost there.
You know?
That Bandersnatch actually references a lot of episodes. It also references White Bear or whatever it is.
I think every game that they talk about,
Metalhead.
Metalhead's hugely focused on, but like I think every game that's on the. I don't want to talk about this now, but the whole Tuckersoft website.
Yeah.
Do you guys hear and see that? There's actually a physical website. All right. Let me say that one for later because there's actually an Easter egg that goes into some really cool stuff.
Well,
later.
Some of the episodes they've created websites for to make it more. If you want to go further down the rabbit hole and do more, I mean, even Bandersnatch has a website to it that you can go to that has the game that you saw them playing where the guy's falling. I mean, there's all this shit in
Nosedive. So you're talking about the Tuckersoft website and how people found that, but I want to get to that after we talk about the game.
Okay.
For some of the movies before we get.
We'll do our spoilers.
Some of the other episodes have done things like that.
Conversation to be spoilers, but
by the way, spoiler alert.
A month ago. So if you haven't fucking played this, then
yeah.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, well, you know about Black Mirror, I'm sure. Twilight Zone meets technology.
It's original too, right?
It's a very original concept, but not such an original idea, I guess. It's the Choose Your Own Adventure books, but you're doing it yourself with a controller or with a little Fire Stick or whatever controller you have that you control your TV with for Netflix. And it's a Choose Your Own Adventure, and it took them. I forget how long, 2 years. And then they had, in fact, there's so many trees that it goes out from. The director even got confused on how to even finish the darn thing when he was done with it, when he was actually playing it himself. So,
there's literally millions of permutations of how you could get through. There's only so many endings, but the endings change subtly, and even the director doesn't, and the director and the producer and the writer do not know how many endings there actually are, and different ways to get to them.
Yeah.
It plays, let's say, like 5 minutes of video in the show, and then it gets to it shows up at the bottom of your screen. It basically gives you two options, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it has one set by default, but you have like 5 seconds or something to either
Something like that, yeah.
select that.
10 seconds, yeah.
10 seconds, yeah. And so I didn't do that, but I was wondering if I just go back and play it and don't select anything to see what happens.
I did that, Gak, last night.
Did you?
So I can tell you exactly what happens, but let's get into your individual experiences before we do that. I totally have the same idea where it's like I went through and watched the whole movie once and
What's
made
the
decisions.
default?
For the second or third time. I think it was the third time I went through it. And then after that, it was like getting kind of late. So I was like, set the keyboard and mouse aside and just like fucking let it play. And so I can tell you exactly what happens.
How it also ties into us is that it seems like it takes place in the 80s, right?
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
84?
Yeah.
83?
I believe so. I believe it's 84.
84 sounds right.
Starts in July.
It actually tells you in the opening sequence what year it is.
Oh yeah, actually.
Oh, why don't we go around the room and just talk about so we can do the roundtable thing?
So I posted a Reddit link in the IRC for the flow chart if anybody wants to take a peek at that for what we're talking about, or if you want to try to recreate what we're talking about, there's a flow chart exactly what to pick to get to whatever ending that you want to see, or different scenarios that happen.
I'll go ahead and start.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So the first scene I remembered, it was a couple weeks ago when I saw it, but I think he was like in his kitchen or something getting breakfast.
Yep.
And
That's
the
the first
option,
thing.
you had like 2 options of cereal, something like that.
Oh yeah, sugar something and
Actually,
Frosties.
you missed something. You missed something. He wakes up like usually from a nightmare kind of thing. Gets up, takes 2 pills, then goes into the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah, and then picks between that.
My first instinct looking at it, I'm like, well, that's weird. Am I just gonna watch? Like, is it somebody else is selecting it? We're just kind of like third person watching the show, but it's not. You're like the first person watching the show, right? You get to select those options.
Oh, that's interesting. Actually, real quick, I'm sorry, just to interrupt, Gak, only because the first time that I fired it up, it specifically said, "Hey, make sure you have a keyboard or mouse."
Yeah.
Yep. Mine too. It
And
gave you instructions.
I only got that once.
Yep.
And after that, it was like, "You're on your own."
Yeah. Yep.
Every time I've replayed it since,
I thought that was
ever gone
interesting,
back
too.
and told me that.
Yeah. Did one of your sons watch it first before you? Maybe that's what happened.
No, my kids didn't
Huh.
watch it.
All right, sorry. Didn't mean to interject. I just
sorry.
But it was interesting that they actually told you it's like you have to have a mouse. And I was like, "What do you mean you have to have a mouse? It's Black Mirror."
Yeah.
First thought when I saw the serial selection thing, I'm like, at first I was like, "Oh, you're watching it third person and it'll select it," but then it starts flashing like I needed to select it, so I'm like, "All right," but I'm like, this is kind of, it almost seemed lame at first, like I'm selecting what cereal he's having.
Yeah, and what are you using, Gak, when you're watching this? What media? Like
just a TV remote, basically.
Just a regular TV remote, like a smart TV.
I've got a Samsung Smart TV, so the Samsung remote will operate Netflix also.
Okay.
But so I can pause it and everything with the remote. But
so you could play the game with that remote.
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, it's a good point. Like when you guys start telling your stories, like it'd be cool to hear like what kind of hardware you're watching it on.
Yeah.
And how you're.
Yeah. So my first thought was like, this seems kind of lame that like I'm just selecting a cereal. Is this
cornflakes or pops?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Frosties
or sugar pops or something.
But then it seems like it ramped up pretty quick after that. So that was my initial thought. So I'll pass it on to whoever else wants to go.
Well, what did you choose?
Yeah.
Honestly,
because it totally makes a difference.
Okay, I want to say it was the sugary one.
All right.
The Frosted Flakes?
No,
sugar
pops.
Sugar pops.
Sugar something.
Yeah.
Let's go around the room. What was everybody's first pick?
We did Frosties, I think.
Yeah, we did Frosties at first.
I did Frosties
together.
Yeah. I did Frosties.
I like Frosties.
And just to go out, so I looked at some statistics, and Netflix has reported that most people pick Frosties over Sugar Pops.
Oh, no way.
The sugar content is so bad.
Frosty Flakes are better, that's why.
They have released, some statistics about some stuff, so when I know this information, I'll interject it for you guys, but yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Hey, that's funny. They're spying on everybody to see what everyone's picking.
100% no. all the statistics on the endings and the choices that everyone made while watching the game.
Oh, and we were watching it on Carrie's cable box on her
good old Xfinity.
So same like remote kind of thing to choose which one you wanted.
Yep, just a TV remote, essentially.
I was on Xbox One.
So my media center is a Mac Mini. So everything I play on my TV is through a Mac. So basically, it was keyboard and mouse for me. So I just use a mouse to select which one.
Used your WASD.
No, I have a trackpad that I use.
I know. I was just picturing you playing it like a PC game.
Yeah, I'm all like in VR.
Yeah.
Because this is how I picture you playing.
That's how I watch TV.
Look out!
Yeah.
See my TV set up.
Yeah,
that's right. With the closed captions coming at you. Oh,
the closed captions are over the options. Yeah.
Right.
You were clever about that. That's not what happened. All right, so
proceed.
Well, picked Frosties versus Sugar Pops, or wants to talk about that?
Dave didn't do his homework. He can tell.
Nah.
Dave's like me in school. He's
just detention 1 week.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Talking about Bandersnatch.
What's the name of this at least so I can Google it?
Oh my God.
I know. What?
Bandersnatch.
Have you ever watched Black Mirror before? Let's just start there.
Yeah, do you have Netflix? No, let's start with this. Do you have Netflix?
Yes, Carrie,
okay.
I have Netflix.
All right, so you can also, if you don't want to try to spell out Bandersnatch, thinking that people will think you're looking at something porno, you could just type in Black Mirror interactive movie, and that will probably bring you to it.
Pants
too.
And scratch.
All right, I'll do my homework.
Yeah.
Sneaky snatch.
Well, this is good because this way we
Winnebago pants and scratch.
Stinky snatch. I don't remember what it was.
If you search for
Stinky patch,
Stinky patch, you'll find it.
Black snatch.
Oh, either that, or he'll come across a picture of Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, you will actually.
Broken snatch.
Mountain.
Batch.
Broken snatch mountain.
Mirrors of snatch.
The possibilities are endless.
I know, right? Okay, so Dave.
Was this homework from last week? Because I wasn't on last week. That's why I didn't.
Yeah, and it was mentioned in Slack. So
a
couple times. Early in the week and in the other. That's right.
You lose. Good day, sir.
Right. This way you can be kind of the straight man in this, and you can be the one to.
We'll spoil the shit out of it for you.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I was super hammered or I'm like, what's going on? I don't know what
Dave, when you were little, did you ever did you ever read those books, Choose Your Own Adventure books?
Yes.
Okay, that's what this is. It's on Netflix though. And you watch this episode, but you choose the fate of what happens to this character.
It's one episode? Yeah. How long does it take?
It depends. Well, about 40 minutes usually.
Oh, mine took definitely longer.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the average is like 75 minutes.
The maximum is an hour and 20, I believe, if you try different things.
Yeah, and then it gives you more like, oh hey, do you want to go back and
it only does that so many times, and eventually you get the credits.
Do I have to know the history of the Black Mirror? Can I just watch it?
Not at all.
No, it's a standalone story.
All right, so if I listen to anything you're saying, is it going to ruin it for me?
Yes.
All right, I'm logging off.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back next week.
Yeah, this is total spoilers.
And we won't talk about it next week.
You're such an ass. But if you guys talk about it, then I'll watch it, and then I'll listen to this. And then
you'll forget it. Don't worry.
Give my 10. No, I'll do it. I got a lot of free time. I just wasn't here last week, so I did not know. But I love you all, and good luck with your
telling you.
Sanders Snatch something.
Oh, we already forgot it. She's a sporter.
No, it's Black Mirror Bandersnatch. 90%. Oh, I'm gonna watch this shit. All right,
no, it's fun.
All right. I'll see you guys later. You guys have a good night.
All right, good night, Dave.
Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen.
There's always one that doesn't do their homework.
Now he's in the corner.
That's a guy that takes this seriously.
Yeah. Put the hat on. Put the dunce hat on.
It's like no
dedication to avoiding the spoilers.
Ooh, I just hit 50 degrees.
Let's put Dave in the corner.
Dear. Yeah, with the warlords.
Yeah.
18 degrees outside. So
18?
50 degrees is a big deal in here.
We should go through.
What's your outside temp though?
Yeah.
So we should go through some of the major plot points and see what everybody did at that point. The very first time you watched it, if you can remember. So what was the next major thing that happens?
Yeah. Well, bring up the next set of choices, like the next, because I mean, I don't have it all memorized.
I could look at the chart.
Yeah,
the next one
was music. What he's going to listen to now?
Oh yeah, we chose Thompson Twins.
I picked Thompson Twins.
Yeah, we did too.
I believe I picked Thompson Twins the first time too.
I wonder what the majority was for that choice. Yeah. Andrew, do you have a list of what majorities were?
Not every choice, no, because that's impossible. I don't have it on that one. They only listed some of the key points.
It's interesting. So the which serial you picked actually did make a difference. Which way?
Right.
It's my understanding the serial decision only affects a commercial that you see later in the series.
Okay. Oh, okay.
It's not a major branch that like either you see Frosties and that's a whole different story, or Sugar Pops and that's a different story altogether.
Yeah.
It's that affects something that you see later.
So the only thing,
you do see.
I'm looking at the chart, and the Thompson Twins versus now 2. The only thing that affects is what Colin, the guy that makes you
Colin.
What his opinion of you is
than, like the poop shoot.
Yeah, Colin. Colin. It says,
"Hi, I'm Colin. Nice to meet you."
That was that cereal
yeah. Hey, you should have had bran muffin. Where's that? Where's that option?
Where's that decision? Fiber.
Here's a Metamucil.
Colin, it affects the music taste, how he judges you, basically.
Yeah,
so that's all that does.
Yeah, he asks our character what. What do you usually?
Affect the music list that he gives him that he then goes to the music store to purchase?
No,
remember he asked you, what do you listen to?
Yeah,
I never got the Thompson Twin Now 2 thing.
You must have.
No, you do. It's when you get on the bus.
Yeah.
Third decision. Maybe second.
Get on the bus.
I think it's the second one.
You're on the bus on the way to the interview, right?
Yeah, it affects the background, and then so Colin asks him, "So what do you listen to get in the zone?" And then either he'll say something about the Thompson Twins, I think, or he says, "Oh, mostly compilations."
No, now too, yeah.
Yeah, because I was curious if the choice of cereal made any difference. So I at one point just kind of did the first part of it over again to see if like there were anything that changed, and tried to keep things the same. I haven't looked at the chart at all, and it looked like it hadn't changed anything, but I didn't watch the entire movie based on Frosties versus Sugar Pops because there's only so much time, and at that point I'd seen it several times, so it was.
I think that the cereal only affects that later commercial.
Okay,
I think that makes sense. Now it could be that's a whole different thing because they've hinted that there's stuff that people haven't figured out yet.
Oh.
The Konami code, it's in there, isn't it?
Yeah. EA Start, yep. It's also the Gradius code.
Yeah, that's where it started.
It was actually there first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The colon code.
Yeah, I was curious to see if the choice of Sugar Puffs versus the Frosties affected whether or not the dog showed up in the beginning.
Okay, so there is a difference. If you pick the Sugar Puffs, it cuts to a cutscene where the dog is digging up something, and the dad says he'll be the death of us, and that doesn't. You don't get that if you pick the.
So I must have picked Frosties then, because I don't remember that.
Because I never saw the dog thing.
I saw the dog thing.
I
did not see the dog thing, I guess, because
and that actually ties to something else later of why the dog's digging up something in the yard.
Right. Yep.
Which is ironic if the dad's looking out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's foreshadowing.
And that's a whole time paradox thing, I think, or something, right?
Yeah.
And well, statement by the dad too, by the way.
What?
Well, yeah, it gives you.
a little bit overstated.
It gives you, I would say, it's not either. You can either call it foreshadowing, or it gives you a clue as to a choice that you should or should not make later on.
Yeah. Carrie's getting deep.
I didn't just go to school to eat my lunch.
I did.
Let's talk more about colon.
Colon blow.
Wait, all right. I'm going to derail this because you said that. Did you ever go to that website back in the day?
What? Colon blow?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, Jesus.
Really? Is that what Three Ninjas use in Three Ninjas?
You even brought that up, that colon, because colonblow.com was a thing.
Oh, was it?
Basically, it's like this was an early viral thing. So this was like in the
Sounds viral.
90s?
early.
Oh, nice.
But basically, it's like this colon cleanse thing, and they talked about the website might still exist. Colon blow. I don't know. Someone on IRC look it up. Colonblow.com.
I'll get right on it.
Use the Gleek bot.
They have free will.
I'm just making a suggestion if they want to follow along.
All
right.
Sorry.
Never mind.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
No,
Sorry.
we're listening. Sorry.
Audience participation. Come on now.
Yeah, right. It's your choice with your remote. Yes or no. Look it up. Not.
I hate the story. So the next major decision is whether or not you work at the company or.
No, we can go back to colon blow. Oh, was that it? Actually, okay. So I had just on the colon cleanse thing. Back when I used.
What I was talking about.
Well, it was just funny when I worked the place I used to work before I started working here, my old job. There was one of the guys who owned the business was really into colon cleanse. And first of all, he would spend a lot of time in the bathroom, which was really annoying because we only had one bathroom. But the part that I always think of with the colon cleanse is that he had like a big jar. It was a white jar, plastic jar of this colon cleanse. It would sit on top of the refrigerator, and I just remember that it said colon cleanse, and it had a giant, like a colon that went around the top of it, like drawn in red, and it was like whenever you went to the bathroom, you just saw this
mega symbol.
Yeah.
What's Jim laughing at? Look at him. He's cracking up.
It was an outline of a colon, and it was just the last thing you wanted to see when you went to go to the freezer to pull out like your frozen entree. It was just.
Jim's muted. I think he's laughing at his own jokes.
They are usually his favorite.
No, I didn't want to interrupt her story with the campfire scene, so I played it for myself.
You're cracking yourself up over there.
That's right. I'm like crying because the whole can tonight's title be like, "Hi, my name's Colon."
Okay, I'm done with the colon cleanse.
Do we need to cover anything else with colon blow? We're good?
Colon is complete.
Yes.
The colon and colon complete.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm pretty sure this show is starting to go to shit.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Low hanging fruit. I had to try.
Oh no.
Oh,
all right. So as Andrew said, picking choices, do you pick to go to work at the company with backup? With assistance, or do you do it by yourself? Whatever we pick for that.
We initially, I think, chose yes, and then it forces you.
Yeah. So that is the first ending. Official.
That's the first ending right away. Boom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of the movie. Yeah. Is
well,
that basically they're like, and your game sucks.
I was shocked that the ending came that fast. Actually, I thought they'd.
So you made that decision first to go to that one?
That was my very first pick, was to join the company. I mean, that's what you think that'd be a dream thing.
Well, you think this would make him keep going, because if you chose no, I thought that would make it end, because it's like nope, you need to work there for shit to happen. I don't know.
Normally you'd think that.
And it's funny. My first perspective was I kind of want to fuck with him.
Yeah.
And so my first was like, no. And when he makes the decision, he's like smiling. He goes, No.
I
was like, yes, nice. And so I assumed there was a whole nother tree of shit on working
on the other side. Yeah.
I never even went down that path. And actually, I played the first 2 times refusing, thinking that there was like some magical new universe over there that I was not going to do yet.
Yeah, they need another year to do that.
And then, then I went back and did it, and I was like, that's what I missed.
I know. I wish they did do more with that, make it more of a tree. Because I mean, when the Choose Your Own Adventure books, I mean, they were like a huge tree. You'd go through a ton of choices, and that up there could actually affect. You could never come back to remedy it. You know, I mean, it's kind of too bad they cut it so short on that one. You know, they should have gone another 10 choices, and then it ends. Yeah. But you know. Do you want to work overtime to work on your game? Right, you know, do you want to pay your employees overtime to get this finished on time?
Dude, when he was saying something about like how you can't fit a whole giant book, which it was a giant book, into like a 48K block, he's like, "Yeah, sorry, we can't do your big ass game, so we're gonna have to make some trimmings." And that was the reason why the game really sucked, was because they just didn't
have enough memory
to do, like what programmers do to like make games work.
Well, it was a very graphic intensive game for its time, trying to do something like that. Very ambitious. Most everything was like text adventures, like Zork or something. You know what I mean? I mean, for that time period to do a game like walking down 3D hallways, that's just pretty unheard of.
My TI-994A, which is my first computer, which Gleek has had behind him on a few of his presentations in the show. Like there was a I'm not even going to acknowledge that. There was a game called Tunnels of Doom, I think it was Tunnels of Doom, which basically was the same idea, where it was like you'd move forward and it was like a hallway, and then you'd get to points where it's like you could turn left or you can go forward. Oh, there's a T, now you can go left or right, and you move through this game, and you had to it was like an RPG game. You had to like fight monsters. You like run into them. It was almost identical to the way this thing looked. Just the same way too, like where you'd see a monster down the hallway, and then you'd step forward, and the sprite would get a little bit bigger, and then you'd step forward, and then boom, and then you'd have to like switch screens, and you have to attack them. Yeah. Anyway, that was same era, same crappy ass computers.
It reminded me of iRobot. With the colors and the way that some of the scenes, because when you change perspective on iRobot, some of it, I was like, oh my God, this totally reminds me of some of the iRobot graphics.
Oh yeah, the 3D polygon.
Mm-hmm.
And like stepping back from like the graphics part of it, how about like the most obvious arcade connection to this movie? Dragon Slayer.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like you get to a scene, it's literally playing like a scene, and then you have to make a decision with your joystick or button about what happens next. Either you move forward or you die. Now, Dragon Slayer is a simplified version of it,
and was what I was thinking. Yeah, it gives you 3 seconds to make your decision, or if that, and
shorten the time span that Netflix allows you to choose, and it's like you're basically kind of playing Dragon Slayer.
Kind of.
Is that was that a fake game that what's his name played in Big at the beginning of the computer game? Tom Hanks' character.
I don't know that game.
Melt him, or
what game was it? Is it? Now
it was kind of a mixture of like a text adventure game with kind of some graphical stuff. So I don't know that game.
Like you're in a cavern and it's surrounded by sharp.
Right.
Whatever.
And the wizard, you have like wizard or like that.
Yeah.
You're right. That's a good question. That probably was based. I mean, maybe someone in our IRC who didn't bother to look up colon blow. So do you guys?
Oh, that okay.
Oh, maybe it is colon blow.
Yes. No. I think we have a.
That's a title.
Saturday.
It was this adventure.
IRC used to be cool. I don't know what they're doing now. They're kind of boring.
What's funny is
can you use the bot or something? Yeah,
I know. Yeah, Gleek bot. Search for something.
We started with 20 viewers, until we started talking about Bandersnatch, and then we went down to 11.
Yeah.
No wonder I'm enjoying this so much.
They'll watch this thing a month ago when it came out.
Yeah, I don't want it to ruin it. I don't want to ruin it.
Right? Yeah, no, I respect that.
Good. We don't like you either. No, I'm just kidding. You smell.
You smell.
Cool. Bleak, what we need is you to get in here and participate. Stop asking shit in chat.
Okay, so let's move on. What's the next thing that happens? Okay, you do the game with on your own.
You go home, you work on it, and then you start having problems. And is it the pub scene?
No, it says the next choice is do you want to talk about your mom or not with a therapist?
Yeah,
right.
Well, there's another one that forces you.
Not correct.
Well, no, it doesn't. Because I went back and I played it where I absolutely, no matter what, refused to talk about my mom because I was
and they
curious.
Force you.
I was curious what it is that they would do if you didn't talk about mom. Yep. And it asks you a couple of times, are you sure you sometimes you learn things? And I kept saying no, because I was curious, like, what are they going to do if we don't talk about mom? And it did take me down an entirely different path than if you agreed to talk about mom.
It doesn't open up that whole ending possibility.
The chart says no, but it says eventually forced.
Yeah.
Well, we ended. I mean, I suppose at the very end you have to do.
I think on a real loop you end up talking about mom if you want to, but I don't think that becomes required the first time through.
Yeah, because I got through to an end without ever talking about mom.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. Sorry.
That was the same with me.
Speaking of talking to mom,
I said no twice, and then it said okay, and then it went down the rest of the chain on that the link that Mock sent us.
The chart. Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking at. So then it talks about the childhood story about the rabbit that the dad takes.
Yeah, that's only if you hear the mom story.
Yeah,
but it says here if you keep saying no, it says eventually forced.
Yeah, I didn't get that though. So I said no twice, and then it said
no
childhood story.
No, as we all know.
Yeah, it said, and I didn't get the childhood story then, but I got that later.
Yep.
I didn't get any of that train derailed stuff. It went straight to the vinyl selection for Triangle or Fedora.
Yep.
And then it went down. Then it continued on that line for me. So I didn't get the childhood story there, but I did get it later on.
I think you get a chance to replay that one.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to replay that a couple times. So I think there's more options than on that chart. I don't think that chart's 100% complete.
It depends too, because I've seen several charts that were incorrect and have been revised as more stuff comes out. So it could be that link is
interesting.
Incomplete.
Bogus,
dude.
So there's other things in here too. It talks about like if you throw the T over the computer, that's another ending.
Right. Yep. That's definitely a quick ending. That's actually the first ending that I got to.
Oh, okay.
Like I got there and I was like kind of I was in the mindset of like, let's fuck with
the guy.
I just want to do bad stuff for him. So like choosing to work from home felt like a bad decision because it seems like, oh, you want to here's your perfect like gig working at the computer game company. Yeah. It's maybe like they're gonna give you like a desk and like a bunch of guys just to work under you. So I was doing like sort of the negative approach. And then when it got to that point where I was like, pour tea over computer, I was like, fuck yeah. Or it was like, pour tea over computer or yell at dad.
Destroy the computer or throw tea or something like that.
I don't care about that. Let's destroy the computer. And like I did that and immediately brought me to an end and that was it.
Yeah.
So either you yell at dad or you pour tea.
Yeah.
On the computer. So then after you yell at dad, you go to the therapist.
He says he's going to take you to the pub. But instead he takes you to the therapist.
So as you're at the therapist, you jump out of the car. You either get a choice to either go to this is a big choice here, by the way.
Yeah.
It goes off a huge different way. Yep. Do you go to the therapist or do you follow a colon blow?
Mr. Hanky. Yeah.
Because like the follow Colin turns into a whole huge.
That's what I did.
That's what we did the first time.
Yes, we did.
And you wind up in his apartment, right? Is that
yep.
Yeah. Did you do that, Andrew, the first time?
The first time I did that, I followed Colin the first time. Yeah, you meet his girlfriend and his daughter, Pearl, which becomes relevant possibly later.
Yeah. So that's
And
interesting.
then-
So now, when he offers you to do acid, did you take it or did you refuse?
I took it the first time.
I
We
took it
refused the first time.
You did?
Yep.
So if you
took
if you refuse to take it,
Doses
it
to
says that
Doesn't matter.
he says
Yeah.
that he put it in your
Yep.
drink or something, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, he
It's
slips it in the
stupid as
drink.
fuck. Like, if you look down and see like a fucking floating square
I'd
of
shit my
paper,
pants if I saw that I just took a
you,
bunch
like,
of
finish
acid.
a drink, you're like,
Right.
there's a floating square of white
You-
paper.
I'll
You
be
definitely
so
would shit your
scared.
pants. It's colon blow.
Now here's a fun fact. Did you notice that on the tab of acid it had a little Bandersnatch monster on it?
Oh, I didn't
I
see
don't know
that.
why, but it's there.
Every acid except for like plain old white paper blotter, they always put like little
The little picture.
branding on them. They're
Yeah.
branded, and theoretically that's supposed to help you know how strong it is, but you don't really know.
Just don't take the brown acid.
Well, it's the white powder you got to worry about, because I know that's the Woodstock joke, but like
Yeah.
white stuff, 'cause you have no idea what it is.
Yeah. So, but it had a little Bandersnatch tiger, right, or something on it.
Yeah, the monster guy. Yeah.
The monster tiger man. Let's see. Then
Is it the demon Pax?
Oh yes.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
you're right.
Oh.
Nice. Yep.
Jinx.
Because Pax is one of the choices eventually you get to make later too.
oh, okay. Let's see. Colin Colin tries to tell you that that there is no free will. That you're basically Pac-Man, which I thought was a cool reference.
I love that.
That you're just in a maze. It's
Awesome.
really a
A
nightmare.
fucking nightmare.
You
It's not a happy
think
maze.
you have choices up, down, left, right, but really you're just trapped in one big maze. You can't get out.
Right?
You go on one side, you just show up on the other side. That whole
Yeah,
thing.
you're like, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's
You're
not a
still
happy game.
there.
It's a fucking
And
nightmare.
that's
Sorry,
speed for the program and control pack.
Yeah.
It's program and control man.
Yeah.
All those trippy acid effects really freaked me out in this
Oh.
show. It's just really well done.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Reminiscent of
swirling
the Spet
shit on the painting.
Memories
How about
of
when
a
he-
youth.
Glasses off and his eyeballs are going blue, blue, blue.
Yeah.
That
That was cool.
That freaked me the hell out.
That was cool.
It felt like
So,
When he
a,
puts them back on, they're totally normal.
yeah.
Yeah.
For me here,
Yes.
about 10 years ago, the company I'm at, we were developing this new product, and part of the LED boards, it was called a power and control board, and they just shortened it, called it the pack board, and they needed me to give them a mechanical dimension for it to fit inside something. And so when I made that drawing, I actually drew a Pac-Man and dots on the drawing.
Oh.
And I was like, here's your pack board, here's the dimensions.
Oh,
And
that's funny.
They actually, for fun, they put it on the silk screen on the circuit board.
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's like thousands of circuit boards on our pack boards that have a Pac-Man with the dots on it.
because of you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Nice.
All right, sidebar off.
That
All
was
right.
cool.
I like little fun facts like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. So then when you get to that point, he tells you, you can just rewind time. You can it doesn't matter what you do, you can rewind it and try something different, which is kind of like talking about what
Yeah.
you're doing. You're playing this choose adventure game thing, and if you mess up, you can rewind because you've already experienced it probably playing to this point. So he says, "Yeah, see, watch. You can just jump off this building, no big deal." Which I was like, "Fuck no!"
How many times have you seen Pac-Man die, and how much does it bother him? Like,
Yeah,
not at all.
Right.
just comes back,
Yeah.
big deal.
Like that was awesome. Yeah.
So when you got to this point, who
And he
jumped?
introduced also the mirror will allow you to travel back in time.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay, I missed that. Okay.
Yeah. He mentioned about the mirror.
Okay, because that is play a part later.
To travel back in time, and
Mirror is so you can travel through time. Okay. In your dreams, I could never figure it out if that was reality or dreams. But okay, so when you got to that point, who jumped or who had him jump?
We-
Jump.
Jim and I, the first time we picked having our main character jump.
nice.
Oh,
got
you
to that
did?
end.
Yep.
Yes.
I
Yep.
didn't
Like,
see
fuck
that.
this. Get out of here. Yeah.
I sent the poop over the ledge.
Is that instant ending when you do that?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
that was a cool effect too when he hits and it's like big blood splatter.
Yeah.
And the girlfriend comes running out. No.
Where's Colin?
Where's Colin?
Colin?
Where's Colin? Where's
Colin and
my
Colin dumped.
Yeah.
Both of them.
He jumped through his colon.
Yeah.
It was like a sponge filled with blood hitting it looked like a shipping container or something.
Yeah.
It's like a car.
I don't think he's coming back.
I'm gonna admit something. When in my 20s, I tried acid. I've done it twice, and if something like that happened, it'd be like so freaky, horrible, the most awful thing to experience something like that while you're on acid. Then you're thinking, did he really jump or not? Maybe he just went outside. I don't know. Then you look outside, you see him there. The panic starts to hit you, and I just couldn't imagine what you'd be going through your head on acid, watching your friend jump off a fucking building like that.
I've done a lot of hallucinogens.
So Andrew, were you identifying with this when you're watching it? Like, I remember what this is like.
I remember like the first time I watched Natural Born Killers, and I think that was the first cinematic experience similar to acid. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." It's like they did like the little thing, and then the face twists and
it's not good.
And, no,
did you just like it and laugh at it?
It's very funny. I liked acid a lot.
Oh,
I did a lot of LSD.
Did you never had a bad trip?
Not a proper bad trip where I got into a bad headspace, but I had like my. This is weird. I don't know if I don't want to plug my head.
All right, let's not talk about this now. I'll talk offline.
All right, so I'll tell it. It's a brief story. So like I had a weird thing where I used to be afraid of biting my tongue.
Oh.
Because like you lose sort of sensation in a lot of your physical sensations.
Everything goes numb.
Right. Yeah. So you're not sure what happens, and so I would get worried about biting my tongue, and so I would spit. I would like nibble on my tongue a little bit, and I'd be like, "Did I bite too hard?" And then I would spit
to see if there's blood
in it.
Oh,
and I would. I'm good. That was my thing.
That's your test.
Thing of on acid. Like,
are we getting more viewers right now?
we gained 3.
Been a bad trip. I don't think you can test for the acid
colors
that I
change and stuff. That you don't know if that's blood. It could be spit colored blood.
No, it's true. Like, and honestly, like the colors and weird stuff going on with, I could have easily had problems with that. But
it usually comes and goes.
Pure like hallucinations on acid are pretty uncommon. You see weird, distorted things that are.
It comes and goes in waves, I think.
But you don't like see full on shit that doesn't exist. That's less common.
Yeah, I didn't see anything like that where like a giant bear comes walking in the room and hands you a soda or something stupid that you see in TV. It's like that doesn't happen. You're just in the room and things move around, kind of thing. Kind of like when he's looking at the painting and it's moving around. It's similar to that.
That's more like it. Yeah. Now, I have had a few proper hallucinations that were like that shit wasn't there.
No, it was me and I was naked. I was there.
Yeah. Most of it's like lighting and that's sort of the drippy, ghouly effects of
or breathing or waving.
But yeah, proper hallucinations where he's like, the cartoon character comes bouncing in from the other room and tells you need to wipe your ass or it's on fire.
Like something on TV, how they do it. That's the TV's version of what acid is like.
And at no point was I ever so high on acid where it was like, if someone told me to jump off a building, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's not a great idea.
No, that's angel dust. We'll do that.
Yeah, that's not.
Which I've not done, thank God.
LSD will make you be confused about what you see, but not so confused that like death is actually an option.
Yeah. You still have a little bit of like self awareness.
You're not just. That's
That whole thing like visual, isn't it?
There was the old the wise tale about the dude who decided he was an orange and didn't want anyone to touch him because they're afraid they were going to juice him. You guys know that one? And he ends up like in an insane asylum. That's all bullshit.
Don't touch me. I need to keep my juice.
If that were true, that dude was crazy before he started taking acid.
Yeah. Ugh.
Anyway.
Okay, so after that, what happens next? You have a mental breakdown, you get taken to the therapist. So you get a choice with the pills. Do you want to throw them away or this is weird, the choices. Yeah, throw them away.
I've seen three choices at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, it wants to add new path. Bug encode. Okay, or throw them away.
Because I've gotten it where you take them.
Yep.
Or
taking them is an ending.
Yes, that's right. Taking them is an ending.
Then you end up with a crappy version of the game because it's like you on the drugs, and then it's like boring, and then you make a crappy game.
Right.
And that's like I think the 0 out of 5.
Crappy
stars.
bird.
Yeah, crappy bird.
You make crappy bird.
You make crappy bird. Yeah.
So that's one ending. Boom, and then there's 2 other decisions.
Yeah.
What were the ones you saw, Carrie?
Either to throw or to flush.
Yes. And when I ran through it again, I never saw throw away again. But I remember there was one where it's like I threw them in the trash can and they were just like sitting right there. But every other time I played it, I got the flush option only.
Okay.
You either take them or flush.
Yeah. So this says if you flush them, at Christmas the game gets 2.5 stars.
That's if you take them.
Only if you take.
Oh no, that's if you take them. I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah, that leads to the ending.
A crappy score.
Yeah, I didn't get that one, but
it's quite the disappointment.
Yeah, the ratings,
which makes sense. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna like numb all my creativity with pharmaceuticals and pharmacology is gonna make a crappy game because I can't think anymore. So that makes sense. But does it say anything about throwing them in the trash versus flushing them into the toilet? Yeah,
this says throw them. Oh, not in the trash. It just says throw them away. I don't know what that means.
Same thing.
So this says delivery day. Colin gives Daco about Jerome. What does that mean? I don't remember that.
He gives him a videotape about the writer of the book.
Oh, is that what that is?
And Stefan finds out that he is a little bit psychotic, and that he's following his route.
He went crazy writing the book. Something.
Yeah.
Well, so that's actually an interesting point too. So if Colin jumps, then the intern guy who gets the coffee and candy bars in the beginning gives you the cassette. But if you don't do the one where Colin jumps, then Colin gives you the cassette.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, but you get the cassette regardless. They make certain of that.
So then there's another choice here for express anger. This is when you're working on your computer. Do you hit the desk or do you destroy computer? And if you destroy computer, it's instant game over. But if you hit the desk, you get a realization of reality. I'm just going by the chart.
Yeah.
And then the action is, do you pick up the book or do you pick up the family photo? So there's even little details like this that change. This totally splits off right here.
Yeah, because I hit the desk and pick up photo, and I think I might have died shortly after that.
So then
that you a dream.
So you get to go through go through the mirror if you pick up the family photo.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because here's the twist of this. I don't know if you guys know. So Netflix revealed after people were talking about it. Netflix revealed, and they mentioned this particular point in the movie specifically, when people were like, "Oh yeah, we mapped it all out. It's all figured out. There you go. This is how you play Bandersnatch." And Netflix was like, "Well, did you try picking up the family photo twice?"
Oh no!
Oh, nice.
Did I just blow all of your minds?
Yeah.
And I did do some of those, like
doing certain things twice will open up different things.
Oh, that's true. Because if you notice when you go to the safe has different codes choices.
So when it rewinds, if you decide to repeat certain options, apparently it will do different things.
And there was something that we did do twice. It we went back inside and we chose the same thing again, because it's like, and I forgot if it was I forgot what it was, but
we found out you had to kill your dad or something like that, or like it led you to
Yeah, whatever path we went down, there was no choice. But like, sorry, you got.
It was the dad. It was something in the kitchen. Yeah. Yeah.
So this goes off in a lot of different ways. So we could either talk about once you go through the mirror, what happens, or when you get to the safe. So what do you guys want to talk about?
Is it the safe one? Is the search for rabbit or?
The safe one is where you got to use a password, and depending on what password you use, you get different things.
To get you the safe. The decision point to take you either to the safe or somewhere else.
Oh, the other choice is if you pick up the family photo, you go through the mirror, and then it says go through the mirror, wakes up from dream and follows advice and locks the door and gets a key from dad. Or there's another one.
Key from dad is a safe.
Yeah. Goes through a mirror, or it says, give me a sign. Oh, this is when he's yelling at the computer. He says, give me a sign. I don't have, you know, he realizes he's being part of something. This is where it really blew my mind when I was playing this. Where the choice
it started breaking the fourth wall pretty hard.
Getting very meta, where it's either white bear symbol, which is the two paths that break off from that white bear episode, which is the symbol that woke you up and realize you got to do the same thing over and over again, which is sort of what you're doing in this game, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, which is cool.
Or the other choice, it just says Netflix, and you're like, what? They put Netflix as an explanation to the character saying, you know, who's controlling me? What's going on here? What? And then when you click, it's the Netflix logo, and I almost fell out of my chair when I saw that. I'm like, holy shit! This is so weird. Awesome. So my wife and I were playing it together, by the way, when we were doing this. We were yelling stuff out of the screen. You know, pick jumping off the building or whatever. You know,
Alexa, jump off the building.
Yeah, she's yelling out. She's yelling. I go, what should I do? What should I do? Should I pick up the family photo or not? You know, that kind of thing. So anyway,
twice, or did you automatically go to the Netflix one?
I went right to the Netflix one because I was so curious.
Yeah. And that's a whole different. And you're in an ending right there. That's the dead end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went the other, the white bear symbol. Yeah.
The symbol. Yeah.
So let's talk about the Netflix ending because that's a fun one.
So
it gets very meta after that, where he starts the computer. Every time you pick, try to explain about what Netflix is, he has no clue what you're talking about because he's a 1985 character.
There is no internet.
There is no internet. There's no streaming. He doesn't understand what you're saying at all. Like in the early 21st century, it's an entertainment media where we stream entertainment to people. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Nothing you say makes sense.
And I could totally see that.
Did any of you guys, because I think each time I did it, I chose after doing the Netflix choice. And I want to say at some point it forced me to do Netflix, and one of the paths I went down and just kept looping me until finally it was like Netflix.
If you get in that loop, you're stuck there to either pick, because both of those are endings.
I like where it says it's like TV but online. I control it.
So I always chose to end the conversation. So did any of you guys do the try to?
There's tell him more or
I
stop
kept going.
The conversation.
It only takes like one or two more steps and then it ends.
So if you stop the conversation, it instantly goes to tells dad taking the therapist. Therapist says scenario is not entertaining enough.
Right.
So that was where it gets really weird too, where the therapist says to him, why would anybody want to watch your life? It's so boring.
Right. Yeah.
What's so exciting to watch?
Talking to an ordinary woman.
Why is this exciting for anybody to be streaming and watching this? Which is a valid question.
Totally. Wouldn't you want this to be more entertaining?
Yeah.
And then your choices are
or fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It's the same outcome.
It is the same outcome.
It is. And I've tried both, and it's still that weird. It goes into this weird action sequence where she pulls out like little sticks that come out and says, come on. And
you're all ninja fighting.
And
she pulled out two batons and like goes, and
let's go. And then you get a choice whether to leap through the window
Actually, before that even happens,
fight her. Leap through the window or fight her is the choices it says here. So if you jump through the window, you don't really jump through the window. You just hear cut from a director off screen, and the camera pans back or pulls back, and you're really on a set on a Netflix show, and everybody's in on it, but your character, which is so weird.
Like a director's chair, like sipping a cup of tea off camera while the rest of the shit's going on. Did you guys? Anyone else get that?
No.
Gary got it. Jim got it.
I got that one.
I hit
no, he was. I saw that by myself.
So,
you did?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
There's two brilliant endings. I'll do the exciting one, and you can do the awesome one.
Oh, well, you can talk about them both because I'm
not going to go back and watch it again.
Okay. Well, all right. So I don't blame you. So I mean, the exciting one is like you get into the fight with her, and you go through like the crazy thing, and it's like the fuck yeah, and then he gets dragged out like screaming and yelling. You want fucking action? There's your fucking action, bitch. Great. Loved every bit of that. And then the other one is you choose to not fight her, and then you try and break out of the window, but the window doesn't work. And then at that point, the director goes cut, and he says, "What's going on?" And it pulls back, and it's like a full set, like with cameras and stuff like that. And he's like, "I'm just trying to get out of here." And she's like, "Well, you're not supposed to go through the window. You're supposed to fight." And he's and she's calling him. I think Mike is his name.
Yeah, I was wondering actor's name.
That's the actor's name.
I was curious if that was actually the actor's name, and I thought
I'm pretty sure
it is. I'm not
that makes
positive.
sense.
That's a trip.
And he's like, "No, I'm Stefan."
Yeah, he still thinks he's the character.
He's still playing as the character, but like it pans back and then it pulls back and then it's the end because like
it's the end.
Yeah,
that's an ending right there.
Yeah. That was one of my. Like I love that ending.
That's one of my favorite endings. Yeah, it was just tripped me out. I'm like, oh my god,
holy shit! There you go. Boom.
It's even weirder that he doesn't realize where he is, and he still thinks he's that character. But I don't know. It's just bizarre. But
that one was super awesome. Love that one.
Okay, so if you fight Dad, Dad comes and chokes Stefan. Okay, you got a choice to karate chop him or kick him in the balls.
Balls.
So that one ends, I think, the same way both ways.
Yeah, it says, "How's that for entertainment, you psychotic fuck?"
Because she's all goading him on, saying, "I thought you wanted action." And he's like, "How's that for fucking action?" You fucking cunt." So him out the door, and then
so on some of these endings, it does this weird like rewind, like and then you go back to have another choice again. So it takes you right back to White Bear or Netflix. So then you get to try the White Bear side.
Netflix is a dead end. You can't go.
That's always an ending, no matter what.
Yep.
Okay, so then if you pick White Bear from the White Bear episode, that symbol, mental breakdown about not being in control. The action is either to kill Dad or to back off. I chose back off, so I never got to see anything with killing Dad, which I saw later. Which I was like, oh boy,
I did hit the kill Dad one.
Who picked kill Dad from the get-go? Because I was like, what's the motive to kill Dad?
I don't think that was our first choice. No, it made us.
Yeah, it did. It eventually made us.
Yeah,
so we backed off.
The first time.
Yeah, it's a game over if you say back off, right?
Yeah.
No.
That's what it says here.
It's a reset. So it takes you back
it's a reset. What to do, either to chop up body or bury body.
I hit bury.
If you kill Dad, then that triggers a whole different separate sequence, which eventually turns into either Colin, if he's still alive, or his girlfriend, if he's dead.
Yeah.
Or the boss guy from the company.
It says here, Kitty asks Colin, where Colin is, and Kitty rings the doorbell.
That depends. I think that's a random selection, depending on what you've done before.
Okay.
And then the other one is Colin comes to help.
Colin, if he's still alive, will come to try and help.
He confesses to killing Dad.
And that's an ending too.
Oh, interesting. I didn't see that one.
Yep. So if Colin shows up, then you basically have an option to kill Colin or not, which actually is pretty funny because like Colin basically says, he's holding a knife, and he's like, if you decide to kill him, Colin's like, could you not do with that because it stings? And then he goes around the room looking for something to kill himself with, to have you kill him with, and he picks up like a trophy. and he puts a trophy in his hand, and he's like, "All right, make it quick."
I didn't see that one.
And then Stefan just fucking bashes him on the head, and then eventually that ends up with you end up with a crappy score on the game, and he's in jail.
Oh yeah. Oh brother.
Hi, Dad. I'm in jail.
But I think the same thing happens, and I never got this ending, but I forgot the Tucker Soft guy's name who owns the company, but he can show up too, and basically goes through the same kind of scenario, but you end up in jail. The Glyph ending is a dead end, just like Netflix.
Yeah, it's just a different pathways, or there's more to do. So here it says, if you chop up the body instead of burying the body, you meet with a therapist and explains the game only.
There too, because when you chop up the body, there's a decision where he picks up the phone and he has to dial the phone number.
Oh, I haven't got that yet. I'm still going down some stuff that happens. So yeah, it'll get there because that's. Wait a minute. How do you get over to? That's on another path to get to that point.
Sorry.
You got to go through the whole password part. Yeah, to get to that. What you're talking about. So on the chart here, it says you meet with a therapist and explains game only has illusion of free will. Bandersnatch gets a 5 out of 5 stars credits. I didn't get that one.
5 out of 5 stars is the Pearl ending, because after that, then you go to Colin's daughter.
Yeah, it says Pearl Reitman is inspired to recreate the now controversial game.
So I
didn't see any of this. And then Meta Netflix encounters bug.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I went that path.
I did too.
What is that? What is that there?
The Pearl ending is considered to be like sort of like the ending that Netflix expected everyone to get to.
Really? Wow. So who's Pearl Reitman?
Pearl Reitman is Colin's daughter.
Yes, the baby that you saw.
Oh my God, really?
Yes, because she's more present time.
Yeah,
and she's grown up.
And she's writing the Netflix show that we're watching.
No way.
That's ending.
That's interesting. So Netflix thought that would be the main.
Have some acid.
So that's the real ending.
No. So there's no real ending. They're saying there's no real ending. That's just the one they expected most people to get to.
Oh, really?
If you played the game, that's what they expected you to get to.
Oh,
because were they wrong?
I know. They all got different things.
That's the ending I remember was the female in the future.
Yeah, that's Pearl.
So that Gak got to that.
Yeah.
So that it's not the ending that is the right. There is no right ending.
Okay.
They're saying that that's the ending that they expected most people. If the average person played, that's the ending they're going to see.
So if you do that, it goes to an action.
Part of the reason why that ending exists the way it does is that if you notice in that ending, the credits are interspersed with the video.
So you can still keep playing.
It's that while she's programming, you'll see like she's doing something, and then it cuts to director so and so, and then she goes back to programming, and then it intercuts with a credit.
No, and like she's programming in the credits.
No, it goes to a full screen with the credit name on it. But that's the only ending that has the credits interspersed with the action.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
It's like the special Street Fighter ending that you get with the credits.
It's like that's the ending that they were kind of like assumed most people would get, and that's the ending they kind of built towards. But there is no proper ending.
So it says here
we didn't win. Damn it! I thought I won when I got the 5 out of 5. I'm like, I won.
That's exciting ending because you do get. That's the only ending that I've found that you get 5 out of 5.
That is the only ending you get.
I felt like I won.
What were you gonna say, Gak?
I was assuming like no matter what you selected, that eventually you get to that ending.
No, that's not true.
No, not at all.
No.
And my ending, I got
10
out of 10. Yeah. My game was so much better.
Like probably an hour and 10 minutes or something. My hour and 10 was the episode I watched.
I got the ending like Seabart, where you go back in time and then you get to be with your mom, and you both crash on the train together as a child, and then you're older. Yeah, you're old. That's my first thing. And then your older self just dies because you've gone back in time.
Yeah, that dies
Hardy
in the
McFly.
therapist chair.
Yeah, you die in the therapist chair.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So
That's what I got.
Netflix, you and Chris. So Chris, Steve, and that was my final ending when I couldn't make any more decisions. Like the game was over. And it didn't allow me to reset or rewind anymore.
Yeah.
That was the ending I got to. And apparently that is the most uncommon ending. For most
uncommon.
The train ending is the least common ending today. That'll change. Who knows?
I don't remember the order, but I saw that part too, where he's on the train with the mom.
Okay.
It doesn't continue after that one, but
it ends.
Where the daughter is in the present day, that one can switch back.
Well, yeah, there is. If you do the Netflix thing, it does say it goes to an action where you get to destroy. It reverses.
Yeah.
Destroy computer or throw T on computer, and that goes to back to the tree we were before.
Yeah.
Yes.
I must have selected that because I definitely saw the part where he's with his mom.
Okay, so if you throw T on the computer on this, what's funny is because if you throw T on the computer earlier, it destroys the computer and it's over. But in this version, from after you've already done the Pearl ending, if you throw the T on the computer now, it takes you to, you wake up from your dream. Now you follows advice and locks the door, gets the key from Dad, finds the safe, and then you're at the password at the safe.
All
so
right,
it's different.
We haven't talked about the password branch at all. But
no, that's where I'm getting to right now.
Let me just just hold off before we start that one because that's a whole separate.
Can we take a hiatus? I need to replenish, and I don't want to miss this.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Breaking for Jim's drink.
Now we have 10 listeners.
I can't believe there's 10.
10. Fucking
we need
10
to put 10.
So
okay,
here's
I'm entertained.
Which I'm sure Jim doesn't care too much about, and it's readily available online. Apparently, in Britain, they preferred not to pour the tea on the computer
because it's a waste of tea.
It's a pretty good cup of tea that Dad just brought him.
Yeah.
Than pour the tea.
You know that this is totally a study of human behavior, just for how people are. I'm sure they're documenting everything to see, because millions of people have played this. You know,
let's be honest, it's the NSA.
It's all going into the CIA computers.
Yeah. That plus the 10-year challenge, and they know everything about us.
It's all going into Echelon. You know what Echelon
it's all going into the AI.
Just saying Echelon on an online source means that we're now being recorded, by the way. Sorry about that,
guys. Well, we were being recorded before and broadcasting it.
We're
recorded somewhere else now.
Yeah. No.
I'm in Canada, your jurisdiction, firewall. Nice try.
It doesn't matter because we're in the U.S. and it's being recorded here. So you're part of Echelon, buddy.
Whether you like it or not.
Give me a second to pull my pants down.
I do actually have one piece of news after we talk about Bandersnatch that I wanted to especially get Mock's kind of a thing on, but I guess I'll hold back on that.
Hold that thought, and when we get past Bandersnatch, we'll do a little more news.
Hey, Jim's back.
Oh, damn it. No, I'm just kidding.
This is fun though. This is kind of fun going through the tree and talking about what everybody did. I'm having fun doing this. So Andrew, you said before we get to the safe, you wanted to talk about something.
Before the safe, fuck, what was that? We talked about pearls ending the safe.
I never got to a part where you chop up Dad. I never got that.
Oh wow!
I never even saw that. I never even knew that they buried the body, and that's what the dog was digging up.
Yeah, that was a mind scrambler.
Yeah. What the hell?
I only saw the dog, I think, on my very last playthrough.
So the dad's looking at his own body being dug up.
No. There's a thing on that. And fuck, I'm sorry. I don't know what I was wanted to keep us from talking. Oh, what was the other option besides going to the safe?
It's always like pick up the picture
phone number.
Oh yeah, sorry. Well, no, there was a phone number too, but I don't know if that's before or after the safe either.
Yeah.
Well, there's okay, so
I'm not looking. I actually never been able to see the spreadsheets. Unfortunately, I brought it up on my iPad, but low res, I couldn't see it.
depending on how many times you get to the safe, because you can get to the safe multiple times, the passwords change, which is really fucks
The
with you.
options.
Yeah.
Yes. So sometimes it's PAC.
Oh, awesome.
Sometimes it's JFD, which I don't know what that stands for.
Oh, yeah.
That's
It was,
the
That's
it
the
was
office
packed
name.
for us. Yeah.
Yeah, pack or packs. Yeah.
It's PAX. It could be
Yeah.
PAX. It's also going to be toy.
Toy is the rabbit.
Yes, that's right.
So I
Yep.
put in toy the second time I got password.
So if you get toy, that's the ending where you get to die in the therapist chair and you're a little boy and you get to be with your mommy.
Yeah.
And you die on the train and then die in future self.
Yeah.
It's this weird
But-
thing. Yeah, you
But
die
what's
with
weird
that.
about that is it really your mommy, or was it really there's another scenario where
is that real, or is that just a separate reality?
because the dad was trying out drugs on you. That's why you're taking the pills every day, because he's controlling you. And that mom scenario was to test how you would handle stressful trauma in your life.
All right. But or is that just a splinter of the different parallel realities are appearing and happening at the same time?
I don't know. That's the thing.
One
you
reality
think
is
about.
that it's all fake and staged, and you're in a sound stage. One reality is it's just you and your mom and your dad and a loving family.
And another reality is it's a twisted dad doing experiments. Not even your dad, probably. You're just a subject.
You just like take those two just separate, where it's like one's just a, like what it appears to be, which is a loving family with a mom who went through a tragedy and a dad who just wants to care for his apparently going crazy son. The separate one is he's been mind controlled since he was a little child. That's a whole different through the mirror kind of.
And that might not even be his son. That might be just a baby they grabbed somewhere from an orphanage, and they're fucking with it.
One reality,
right?
That's a long play, though.
I know.
What the fuck?
Well, that's what the Truman Show was based on. Let's see what happens if we just watch this person and throw tragedy at it once in a while, just for entertainment, or to see what it does and document it.
Those realities don't necessarily, while they may affect each other, which is what Colin talks about during the acid trip, the realities can affect each other, but they're not actually, they are actually different.
They're different realities.
So one reality is, again, he has a loving family, actually his father, actually his mother, he is actually their son. The separate reality, which is the sound stage where he's not the father, that's not the mother. Maybe even the mother's not really even dead in that train scenario. That was just what they were told. Who knows?
Yeah.
But like that's a staged reality that doesn't really exist, and that's the PAX ending, which we can talk about now.
PAX ending. Let's see. What is the PAX ending? Let's see. That's where he kills dad and calls the therapist.
That's the one that forces you to kill dad.
Yeah. So I never got to this, so I'll just read through it. You're given the option regarding if given option regarding body. This access.
Sorry. So real quick. So yeah. So there's before the body. When he goes crazy looking at his computer, you get two options on the computer. After you open up the safe, and you see the pack stuff in it, and maybe I'm mixing that up. But basically, there's two options in your computer. Instead of Netflix and the glyph, you get PAX and the glyph.
Yeah,
the glyph takes you down the same scenario as the glyph did before. But the PAX ending basically forces you to kill dad.
Yep.
That was ours. Yeah.
And then
what is this part where it says what's the number? And then the number is 20541.
So all right. So after you kill dad, there's two options. One to bury him, one to cut him up. If you bury him, I think that brings you back to the other branch where it's like either Colin or his girlfriend or the head of Microsoft shows up. But the other option is you cut him up, and Stefan goes, "Really?
Yeah,
it's awesome because super fucked up.
Yeah, what do I do?"
And then so he cuts him up, but then at some point, like he goes crazy. And actually, this ties back into one of the other high-scoring entries as well for the final score of Bandersnatch. But basically, like he cuts him up, and then after that, he goes to the phone and he has to put in the numbers, and then it goes to this weird recant of numbers you've seen in the episode. And
Oh,
here's another huge opportunity for a whole other branch that we don't know about, because they feed you the numbers.
They do.
But I rewatched the episode thinking in terms of the numbers and the order that I heard them in, and I think there might be a different combination, and I have not yet tried it yet.
Yeah.
But if you type in the correct number, then it calls a psychiatrist. She's seeing her sister's wedding or something like that. And then you basically say, look, I just killed my dad, and I'm going to come kill her next. And then the police show up. And that's the
it says receptionist calls police. Game is released anyways. 2.5 stars. Credits.
So there's another option where you don't put the number in, or you put the number in incorrectly, and then it doesn't call that, which does not trigger the police coming. And I think that's how you get to the dog ending.
On that one.
Porn hotline.
Yeah.
And there's also another bit there where you end up with your father's chopped off head.
Yes.
On the desk behind you while you're programming an awesome game.
Shit.
There's supposed to be an ending where you actually kill your dad, and you can go to the therapist and kill her. And I haven't seen that, but I saw it on YouTube. Somebody was able to do that.
That sounds like a challenge.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that. So
so you can actually go to the therapist and kill her as well and chop her up.
I wonder if that chart's just going to keep expanding over time.
Yeah, it's interesting though.
It's cool. It is so cool. What they did is so cool. And like, it's even like listening to us talk about it. It's, Dave, when he was on, was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go watch it. Like, none of us are talking about watching it. You play it.
You
experience it. Yeah, exactly. You're not watching this. And so I bet when Dave talks about it next, he's not going to say, oh yeah, I watched that. Like, oh yeah, I played that.
It'll be interesting if next week Dave's going to be like, oh my God, you guys.
Yeah. You're going to be like, we can't spoilers for this audience. No.
Snapper cunt. What the fuck is the thing called?
Colon.
You gotta watch.
Don't forget it. I played that black
pants and scratch
colon game.
Black colon. Oh no. That's wrong on so many levels. Yeah.
So did we cover about just everything? I think we did.
I think we did. Yeah.
Well, actually, I think in summation, how do you guys feel about it?
It sucked. I'm just kidding.
There's some people that are scared about it, actually. I've been seeing some really weird videos pop up on YouTube. People are worried that, well, one of them, there's people thinking this is brainwashing, a form of brainwashing.
Oh, Lord.
It's a form. You think that you're doing this interactive thing, but really it's flashing images of demons and making you pick choices like kill people.
My God, it's kill Bird yourself. Box. Quick, blindfold yourself.
Yeah, it's sort of like this thing where it's like it's promoting really evil stuff, and they think it's like a tool from Satan that somehow was created. So everyone in America is playing this game where you get to kill your dad, you get to kill yourself, you get to kill a friend, you get to kill your therapist.
That Star Trek Next Generation episode, the game.
Yeah, the game. But it is an interesting thing to think about, though, that this is something that millions of people are playing it. B, it's all being recorded of what we're doing and our choices, and I'm sure that it's going into a log just to kind of see as an experiment what are people doing out there. So it is a very interesting and innovative, groundbreaking kind of experiment, I guess. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of these type of things, because how much fun does that mean? How fun would it be to watch an action movie and you get to make choices while you're doing it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot more work for the director, but if you're doing that ahead of time, knowing you're going to be doing it,
so they should have done something like this for The Matrix.
So Netflix already said
the blue pill or the red pill.
Other things, other interactive things like this. That's done. Like, we're going to see more of this shit. Period. I think
this is like a total.
It opens up such an avenue for Netflix.
Totally dipping their toe in there.
Oh yeah.
Well, just wait until Amazon Prime or other streaming services copy this.
Yeah. Oh, it's done. They did it. They were the first this is now something that's part of our media landscape.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interactive movies.
It is, and it's interesting. You know,
Or shows, TV shows.
Here's the weird thing. At the end of the day, I didn't really like it. I guess I liked it as a game once I just accepted that it was a game.
Wait. You didn't like it as far as like the overall experience, or you didn't like the story?
I didn't really. It's not really what I wanted. Like I wanted to sit down and like watch a fucked up Black Mirror episode.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
not
all
that.
Of a sudden, it became this thing where it's like this is something else, and I get what they were going for, and I was already sort of breaking the fourth wall, and I played this several times, as you can probably tell.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
I gotta play this 12 times to make sure I hate it.
Yeah.
That's not exactly it. I didn't hate it. It's just that like I don't know if I want
more of it.
I don't know if I want this to be how I interact with media.
No, it would just be certain
It's a
things.
different kind of thing. And if it's a game, then I wanted to know that I'm going into this as a game. Because I mean, I did get swept up in it, and I was engaged by it, and I was definitely a part of it. However, and like Gak said, so I told you in the beginning of this that I wanted to do a no-touch version of it. So there are 3 endings. I saw the Pearl ending, I saw the PAX ending, and I saw. I think it was the Netflix ending. I was trying to. So basically, it walked me through 3 endings. It didn't touch a thing. And it changed. Like when I made the bad decision.
Yeah.
So, for example, the first decision that it made was to work at the company. That failed. It brought me back, and then set me back on the course to work from home. So it made a different. Even though it had the same 2 decisions on the screen, it made a different decision the second time.
Yeah.
So it walked me through the whole thing and gave me 3 endings without touching it.
Yeah.
Took about 80, 90 minutes. Hour and a half.
So you really could play it on in the background at a party or something, and it would still get
every end. Play and do its own thing. What I have not yet tried, which might be interesting, which would be like, does it randomize those decisions in some way so you can get a different experience if you don't touch it?
I think it's the same every time.
Yeah,
I'm guessing it's a programmed path through the whole.
So did any of the rest of you do this? Like when you finally finished it, you're like, all right, I'm ready for the next episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah. I was looking for season 5 and it wasn't there.
I was waiting for episode 2 of the next season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Defaulted with like going back to like the last episode of season 3 or something.
Yeah, it's the very last one. Yeah.
I've seen it before.
That's the part that I want to talk about that we didn't talk about, which was the ending in the credits. So the secret thing that brings you to the website. Do you guys know anything about this?
I don't recall that.
The only one that I mentioned.
So one of the first time I watched it, and no other time since, but the first time I watched it, he goes back and he's on the bus, and it's when he's making a decision to put the cassette in the player to listen to on the bus going to the job interview, right? And the decisions are one of the music tapes, and the other decision is Bandersnatch. And if you put the cassette into the player and choose Bandersnatch, it plays. If any of you guys like old school people, like for computer games, remember loading games off of cassettes? Okay, it's that sound, kind of like the modem sound. It's like, right? So that sound is data, right? Being loaded onto your computer.
Yeah.
So someone, and this is such an obvious thing, but of course, who has the resources to do this except for a few people, nerds. Someone recorded that sound, that data sound, and then ran that through a ZX Spectrum emulator. And what came up on screen was a QR code.
I heard about this.
Wow.
And the QR code takes you to tuckersoft.net, which is a hidden website that you guys should all go to right now if you haven't.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Please, if you have not pulled up tuckersoft.net, pull this website up right now. I never went this far with it, so I read about this online later.
Funny.
But
it's like an old school website too.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a 90s website, which is funny because the game's supposed to be from 84, but whatever.
Yeah.
So there is a playable version of Nosedive that you can download for the ZX Spectrum.
Okay, that's hilarious.
And load it up into an emulator, and it will work.
Oh, wow.
Nosedive.
You know what's funny about this, Andrew, is that if you click the link that says job opportunities, it takes you to like this big picture. But back in the day, there'd be no way you'd have a graphic that big on a computer.
And
that would take an hour to download.
Yeah, it would be a picture of a stamp.
And you clicked on that, it takes you to Netflix. Takes you to a Netflix.
Well, so that's what's funny is, so we were talking about that earlier, and I didn't want to give this too much away, but Nosedive takes you to the episode Nosedive on Netflix.
Nice.
The episode they reference, which is the social media episode that Gak was talking about when we first started talking about the show.
Yeah.
And there's several other ones. There's like the dog one, the dog episode, the
Metalhead.
Metalhead, thank you. So that Metalhead thing that refers to another episode. I think that every game that's listed on that website references a Black Mirror episode. I haven't gone that far to figure out if there's a pig one.
Oh, geez. For the first episode.
Yeah. So
that's right.
I have not gone. I literally just I didn't.
You're going down the rabbit hole of Black Mirror Easter eggs,
but I think that is what they're going for.
I agree. And every Black Mirror episode is supposed to have tons of Easter eggs in it too. So it's a common thing that directors are doing for fun, to put lots of little hints in there and things,
nuggets
of stuff of fun. That's what makes the show fun, though, is that you have these little things you could look into more if you want to, or
not, or just enjoy it for what it is,
or just watch it over for what it is. So, and there's some things too where I watched an episode a second time and I realized it totally passed over my head the first time I watched it. Is that actually that Metalhead episode? That's the black and white episode with the metal dogs chasing the lady.
Right. Robotic dog.
Yeah. Okay. The first time I watched it, I thought that it was just a security dog, and it was just kind of like it was set to kill if anybody came into the building. I didn't realize after a second viewing that no, AI has taken over and told all those type of dogs to kill all humans, and that's why when she goes to the home, people killed themselves so the dogs wouldn't get them. So it was already a place of despair and hardly any humans left. And it was so despaired and so awful that they were willing to risk their lives to comfort a sick little girl with a teddy bear, which I didn't even get the first time I watched the episode. I just thought it was like a Terminator thing like this. I was so intrigued with the Terminator type story of get away from the doggy.
Right.
But that show is just like, I just totally missed that. It went right over my head the first time I watched it.
And there's a lot of subtle stuff in the background too. Like one of the rewind scenes, or actually I think all the rewind scenes that bring you back to the bus that takes you to the record store.
Mm-hmm.
The side of the double-decker bus that he's riding says "a clean slate."
Oh, like you're starting all over.
Over from that.
Yeah, there's a lot of those
really
little things are fun.
So let's go to each of us and talk about if we liked it or not, and what you did like about it, what you didn't like about it.
Right. Let me just wrap up like that. Yeah, my whole thoughts on it. So I think that like as a cinematic experience, I found it really lacking. Like it was like kind of a cool story, I guess, but at the end of it, it's like I wasn't going into it wanting a game, and the game made me more obsessed with watching the movie, which made me feel like it was just sort of like feeding back into it. It was like cool, I guess, but I don't know if I don't want more of the same kind of thing. If they want to do more with this technology, I want them to do something different, very, very different with it. The choose your own adventure thing feels kind of weak for me. Sorry to start with a downer.
Yeah.
But I said that earlier, so I just wanted to wrap up. Like, I don't know. It was like,
Yeah.
I didn't really end up caring too much about the character that I was driving, and I didn't care about his dad, and I didn't care about I didn't really. There was no arc. There was no development.
No, that's what it felt like. It needed to be a little meatier.
Yeah. So I felt a sort of lack of caring for any of the characters, aside from the fact like it was sort of the first person thing that I was controlling, but no more. I didn't care any more about Stefan than I did about Pac-Man. Every time.
Nice.
Nice, big deal. Good analogy.
Yes.
All right, Gak, what did you think?
I mean, I enjoyed it. I only saw it once though, or I felt like I only saw it once. I didn't start from the beginning. You know, I did the flashback kind of stuff where I felt like maybe I saw 3 episodes in one. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd like to see it again and then see what my take is on it. You know, it seemed like it was really long though. Like, man, you know, but I guess, you know, that's because of the choices you make, right?
Yeah.
Well, plus if you have to repeat shit and see stuff over again, it feels like, oh, okay, let's just get going. I already know. Okay, let's get to the choice.
I do like how when they do the rewinds and then the just fast forwarding through stuff, they actually change it with the decisions you made. So, for example, if Colin's dead, it changes the recap. If you chose not to work at the company the first time, and Colin says bad choice or wrong path or whatever he says, he never ever says we've met before in the recap.
Oh, weird.
So the decisions you make affect the recap too. So
yeah.
I was wondering about that because they went through. It's like, the first time it was, I've never heard of this game. I've never heard of this book. And then the next one through, after the game fails, it goes through again. And it's like, oh no, I've read the whole thing. I've heard about this book. I know this author.
Which ending did you get to? All of them, he says.
Therapist chair, but yeah. I don't know. He's just talking there, and then he died when he was 2 in a train crash.
So I enjoyed it. So who wants to go next?
Carrie, Jim?
Yeah, I'll go.
Bart?
I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it, but I mean, I have to echo some of what 34K said, which is this. I was disappointed by the story. There's 2 things that I had a blast, and I did it like for quite a while last night. I did it originally with when we went through it with Jim. So I spent a lot of time with it, and I'm one of these people who rarely ever rewatches anything. So for me, that was like, whoa, I want to try again. What about this? So I had a blast. I had a lot of fun doing it, going into it, looking forward to the interactive part of it. But the story was it was frustrating because I felt like there weren't very the character development was kind of meh, and the story wasn't always logical, and it was very frustrating when it either forces you to do something you don't want to, or it gives you 2 shitty choices. And it just, some of it just didn't seem logical. If there had been more development, and trust me, I went through it enough times that I would have seen development if it was there. There's just not enough development to support him killing Dad. But they're like, that
was my argument, that it jumps to kill Dad too quick without development of maybe if the dad was abusive or something, like maybe shown the dad hit him once in a while or something. They need motivation there. There's no motivation of why to kill Dad other than the books making you go crazy, I guess. But
but we didn't even show that very good.
There wasn't even enough of that.
It's like it's like they had so many choices that they didn't have enough time for good plot development, and so that suffered, and it showed. Like, amazing first run at doing this, had a blast, looking forward to what they do next, but they need to improve it.
Yes, I agree.
Next.
I can't really elaborate but piggyback too much on that, but I will say that I think it's a blast to do it with some like Maki did it with your wife. Like,
yeah, that was fun.
Like, and me and Carrie did. Like, it's fun to like. Well, what should we choose? Like, what? No, I think we do this. No,
that was the enjoyable part of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if we didn't always agree.
Yeah.
And so that was like, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Fine, you get to choose this one then.
Yeah, precisely. Like, and then there were times when I'm like, oh no, I want to talk about mom. And it's like, sorry, I'm a girl. I want to hear about mom. We went with your Frosties choice. That's fine. I get to talk about mom.
I chose Thompson twins too. Yeah.
Me too.
When I went back and played it on my own, I chose now too.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Seabard, do you like it? Seabard, did you enjoy yourself?
Quit muting yourself.
Oh, he muted himself. Seabard, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
We agree with you. Great point.
Thing. Jesus Christ.
Grabbing the mic, probably.
I'm going to unplug this goddamn fucking mouse in about 2
nice.
seconds.
You didn't catch it. Andrew muted you the second time.
Oh,
just for fun.
You. Arcade Hangout muted you fucker. It's like, wait a minute. I just took apart this fucking mouse.
I did it.
Was that a new game, Andrew? It's mute 'em or boot 'em.
Oh, I like it.
Oh, nice.
Well, apparently, if I kick you, it's done. So
it
was fun. I slept. I stayed on the couch. I had my little. So I use a Roku.
Oh, Roku.
Roku.
It's like Colin versus Colin.
Whatever the hell it is. I just have one of those and just sitting back.
Roku.
I put it on my main screen here. So just sat back on the couch or day bed, whatever you want to call it, and just went through all the options. It was about 40 to 45 minutes. And ended up dying in a therapist's office.
That's
what happened to the best of us.
I am going to have to go through it again because there's so many options that I haven't seen. Some of the options I took or that I selected weren't even in that map that was sent out on Slack.
Yeah.
So there's at least 2 or 3 paths where it's like, okay, well, I did get there, but that's not. I went over here and I didn't do this line.
Mm-hmm. Well, it might not be perfect, the chart, I mean, that's someone who played it a bunch of times trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But again, they were thinking linear. Like there's one linear path down to all these things. But when Netflix revealed that like making the same decision twice will open up different things.
Yeah, that fucks
everything up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that just like doubles every option.
Possibility. It makes your brain explode trying to figure it out and map it out. Yeah.
And that's where they can say that there's a million different possible things, and that they say even the creators have never been through every possible option.
Yeah.
They had to write brand new software just to write it out so they could shoot it. Because like they just have no idea how many different ways it can combine itself together.
Well, the director admitted that he isn't even sure how to get to certain endings.
They said there's scenes that you can't get to right now because the options aren't available.
Don't connect to it correctly yet, or have an out afterwards.
Compute.
Yeah, I can believe that. But
crazy.
So,
how about you, Mock?
Mine sort of mimics Andrew and Carrie with it's. I didn't. At the end of it, I was kind of conflicted. I was like kind of thinking, well, the whole experience getting here, the journey was a blast. I loved it. I just loved doing different things and seeing what happens and stuff. But then when you sit back and you think about the actual story and stuff, it wasn't on par with a usual Black Mirror episode. Mm-hmm. Usually they're way up here in quality, and this was sort of down here as far as like the overall thing. But, even with all the branching paths, even with the best path, it doesn't compare to the best or even worst Black Mirror episode. So, but on the flip side of that, I was really impressed with just how innovative and how groundbreaking this truly is. We are seeing the cusp of something that could turn out to be amazing in the future. You know, this is just such a neat experiment that they even tried to open the envelope to try something cool like this.
They only did 30 years ago with Dragon's Lair.
Yeah. With just two choices usually, you know, death or success.
And I think that was when I realized I was playing Dragon's Lair on some level. I agree, it's not, you know, but that was like my thing. Was like, holy crap, it's the same shit. It's basically fast forwarding, rewinding, playing different tracks on a DVD or a laser disc. You know, it's like once I realized that, it's like this shit's actually not that groundbreaking.
Except there's only one choice in that game, though.
Yeah.
Well, no, I know, but like it's just like fast forward 30 years and like what you could do with stuff.
Well, what I'm saying groundbreaking, I'm talking about that multiple endings. I'm talking about on a streaming service that's never done anything like this before. That everybody can play it with whatever piece of media you have. I'm sure programming this was a nightmare.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah, and shooting it was a nightmare. Yeah, exactly. It was just a neat thing to see that they tried to do something different. Which in this day and age, when everybody's doing reboots of so much crud out there, it's kind of neat that somebody out took a chance and did something just so off the wall and fresh and different. Yeah, it might not have been the greatest episode, but the experience, the journey there was a blast. I mean, how much fun did you have, you know, watching things like, oh, do I want to jump off this building? You know, that was just it was just fun just to, and how about the scene where he realizes you're controlling him? He's like, who's controlling me? You know, and you feel like you're like, oh shit, I'm controlling this
like
kid.
Touch my earlobe or scratch my nose or whatever that was. That whole or bite my nails. That was what it was.
Yeah,
like that whole thing. Like and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you to poo-poo what you were saying, Steve. And actually, I would build on that, saying that like, yes, it's a fun game as a movie experience. I don't want more movie experiences like this. I want them to do way better because, like, as a movie experience, I just think it's
I'm not in the camp of I never want to see this again. I'm in the camp of I want to see this again, but done better.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying too. I agree with you 100%. Like,
but this is an experiment. You got to dip the toe in. And the first movie that was made was of a train coming at you. It was fucking boring. Look at movies now. You know, you gotta start somewhere.
And again, I don't mean to sound like a Debbie Downer about it either. I'm just saying that like I agree with you 100%. Like, but the next effort better be a lot better.
And it's so expensive to do something like this. I mean, think about it. You got to do so many different like what ifs. I mean, you got to film every what if. Do I take a shit or do I take a piss? Well, we got to film both those, Charlie.
And reference it later. Wow, that was a good shit.
I mean, it kind of boils down to the what options. And with what Carrie said, I agree with too, is like, there should have been, you should be able to, not only the choices should have been realistic ones, like they shouldn't be just kill your dad so quick. I mean, we have more development there, but you should be able to choose something and go with it. Not like there was another one where you got to fight the therapist. It said there's two choices, like yes or fuck or something. They're both the same choice. That kind of thing I didn't like. It should have been no and yes, or or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like it's an experiment.
You back to some other place that didn't involve things being as fucked up as they were. Maybe that ends up with another shitty, like basically back on pills or something like that. But it's like, the fact that that decision actually was totally irrelevant was a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
Out, guys.
Oh,
It's
it is getting late.
Yeah.
1:30.
I'll save my.
You don't count. You're young.
Yeah, you had something else you want to save it for
2 years older than me.
Next week.
Next week. Yeah, because we
went to 11:30.
Lost a bunch of people who were not watching for the.
Nobody
no spoilers
tonight.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys next week.
See you, Gak.
Yeah, see you.
I know. Is it all of us that's in chat?
Hey, I was texting.
We have two left.
Yeah, I was texting with Gino. He's been enjoying it. So shout out to.
Okay, Gino.
You got Super Greg and Bootleg. I think the last man standing.
Yeah.
Hurry up and complete that Robotron so you can sell it to me, Gino.
Yeah.
One of
those 10 that you have.
Fucking 10.
Man.
Pretty much.
So anyway, I had fun talking about the Black Mirror episode tonight.
I did too.
To do something different.
Yeah, it's fun to
It's
figure out
rare that
something.
I'm like, whoa, pause the conversation. I need to get a drink.
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to figure out what we if there's something we want to all watch for next week, so we can bone up. But this was really cool. It was a fun discussion.
Yeah.
Well, and I love eventually the fact that like talking about it being Pac-Man, which is a great arcade tie-in.
Yes.
And again, sorry for pushing it, but the Dragon's Lair thing, where it's like playing that same old game, where it's like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
I love that there was a couple of arcade tie-ins.
Yes. They didn't show Dragon's Lair, did they? Because it wasn't the right time.
No,
maybe.
Late.
Yeah. Okay. That would have been kind of cool if they tied that in, because it's very similar. Yeah. And did you hear about the lawsuit? Oh, we talked about that on the chat, right?
We did a little bit. And actually, it's funny because the very, very first, I think it's the very first Choose Your Own Adventure branded Choose Your Own Adventure book is The Cave of Time. And I absolutely had that book and read that book.
I had it. I had that
which way you could possibly read it. But it was only like that thick. It was not Bandersnatch.
No, they're all about that thick.
They're all about 180 pages or so. They're definitely triggered at like they're targeted at young adults.
Yeah, I had about 2 or 3 of them when I was a kid. And my favorite one was the Journey to Atlantis one. That was one of my favorites. He had like a submarine that could do different things and stuff. Had a bunch of gadgets on it.
Pretty fun. The Choose Your Own Adventure is actually a trademark name.
Yep.
They say Choose Your Own Adventure.
They do say it
a couple times.
A few times, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a book, it's a media thing.
It's a trademark thing. And they could have used any of the other knockoff names for the Choose
Your Own story.
Like Select a Pathway, or they could have done something else. Obviously, Choose Your Own Adventure.
Branching Adventure.
Everyone knows Choose Your Own Adventure because that was the original ones that did it. But
yeah,
it's a legitimate claim.
It's going to be an interesting lawsuit. We'll see.
I think they deserve it, although it's a dead media. Who the fuck still writes those books? No one.
No one. And the lawsuit's what, $10 million or something crazy? It's a lot of money.
A lot of money, but not that much for Netflix.
Netflix is like, nah, we make that in like 10 minutes.
They just raised our fucking prices by $2 to pay for Netflix in fucking Nigeria or whatever. Like we're talking about like basically like rolling it out to like third world country. I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything bad about Nigeria, but I just mean like third world.
It's everywhere.
Yeah,
so they can roll.
No, it is everywhere. When I was in Europe, Netflix was everywhere there too. So it's everywhere. I mean, they've taken over the world. And that's why I was talking about how this whole thing with the Bandersnatch is like just recording everybody's choices, see what they did.
Right.
It's just kind of interesting too.
Well, we'll see with like Disney Plus coming out this year and all the other competition for other streaming services. It fucking sucks for us as consumers because it means another $2 a month they all want from us.
Ugh. Well,
oh, is it going up? I didn't hear that.
Netflix is raising their prices and all these services. So Disney Plus is coming out. They're pulling all their Disney
library out
of Netflix.
Yeah, they used to have a contract with Disney for that shit, but
their own service and all the other media providers. And
I hate that.
Fuck you!
I hate that. Like that CBS is doing it. They have their own dumb streaming thing, and they try to get people to come to them to watch their dumb Star Trek show.
Same thing
even
with,
like Marvel and DC and.
Yep. So that's the whole thing with like Marvel. So Disney owns Marvel.
Yep. Yeah. Unfortunately,
so DC's got their own thing now.
Well, brothers. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, interesting.
Too many streaming services. I wish it was just a few, not 10.
Yeah.
10 out there.
Right? The luxury that we dealt with for many years, which
those guys are back.
Rolled out their Prime, and then now Apple wants to get in on it, and all the other content providers want to get on it. So it's turning into now all of a sudden we're going to still be back paying $150 a month for cable,
with just streaming cable.
But it's just somewhat a la carte, but not what we really want a la carte.
Yeah,
which that like I don't want to see SpongeBob SquarePants,
which will only motivate the pirates to continue to do their torrent and all that other shit.
And all that stuff. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anywho, well, let's end it on a sad
it's late. Yeah, right. I know.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew.
We'll edit that part out.
Yeah, we'll be talking about the
Nice.
All right, so thanks everybody, all two of you that stayed through the Black Mirror Bandersnatch episode. I guess that's going to be the name of this show is Bandersnatch, right?
It's going to be
I thought it was colon blast.
Colon blow.
Oh, there we go.
Colon snatch.
Colon blow the
movie.
Colon snatch.
It's going to be Bumblebee Cabbage Patch. Going to be Wimbledon tennis match.
Are we gonna set any homework for next time to watch something?
Well,
we could talk about it at Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, we'll have to think of something.
All right, we'll post on Slack.
On Snatch.
All right.
Yeah, and then we can announce it maybe on the thread on Clav, so people have a chance to see it.
Okay.
If we're feeling ambitious,
maybe we'll be a little bit more topical. Rather than
it's more topical than this. I've everyone's seen.
I know, right? It'll be some '80s movie.
I know, but like, this would have been great. Like, it's been great 3 weeks when it
came out. Well, what's good about doing it this late is most people have seen it by now. You know.
Yeah, if you're going to see it, you have a chance of seeing it. When you do stuff like hey, it just came out. Let's talk about it. Like.
Unless you're Dave from Buffalo.
Yeah. Yeah, even I managed to see this one. Huh?
Yeah.
I'm always behind the times.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us.
Night, all.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Night.
How long can I run this before we get?